You're absolutely. So, first things first, I'm going to establish some ground rules, and we are still going to have some people coming in. And so the number one rule here at ManifestX is what? Who can introduce the number one ground rule to our
Play
all out. And have fun.
That's right, playful out and have fun. So I feel like playful out and having fun is like one, because we'll play, you know, life is serious enough, so let's just have fun. And what playful out means: stretch your comfort zone. It means show up on camera. That means raise your hand, use your voice, type in the chat. High levels of energy, right? The things that you want to manifest, your dream clients, your big stages, your $1 million investors, right? Big grants, the love of your life, your new business partner. It's high level of energy, right? Frequency level high. Can we all agree to that? Y'all with me so far? Cool. Will high levels of energy ever flow to a low energy source? No. So high levels of energy will always flow to a high energy source. On this call, playing full out means you have an opportunity to practice being a high energy what in your life? A high energy
source.
A high energy what?
Source.
That's right. That should be everybody flipping the table, freaking out, saying high energy source. Okay? Don't flip the table because we'll need it. But you know, you'll get my drift. So again, I acknowledge you for showing up powerfully. You have so many choices to be in different places and do other things, and you choose this group of people right here. So I acknowledge you for your trust and your attention, your most valuable asset. This piece of your lifetime, I promise, if you play full out and eliminate the close all the tabs on your computer, all the tabs on your mind, and put airplane mode on, this will be the most powerful time spent in your life. Why? Because I'm going to ask you some quality questions, and I promise you, with the power of the mastermind, you can solve any problems in seconds to minutes. Problems, some of them you guys have hung on for months, some of you have been hanging on to them for years. How do I know? Because it works every time. Okay, it works every time. So that's going to be when we get into the mastermind section. And so I'll have a couple of announcements. So the first thing I want to address is the elephant in the room. And don't take this the wrong way, Shelly. The elephant in the room is the superstar in the room. We have Shelly in the room. Shelly, winner from the Winner's Circle, and she does incredible work with formerly incarcerated. Has a powerful story, and is really here a beacon of light to make a powerful difference in the world. So Shelly, please share with the world a few words about who you are, what you're up to, and why you're here, really, and we'll jam.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I'm sitting in a dentist chair, but I didn't want to miss this call. That's how important it was to me.
Wow. So let's go. That's commitment. Let's go, Shelly.
Just waiting to get my cleaning. But hello, everyone. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Shelly Winner. Like I won, I'm the winner. I am formerly incarcerated. I went to prison in 2014. I was arrested. Right after my arrest, I found out I was pregnant. And I knew at that moment that I needed to turn my life around. And so from that day forward, I started my self-development, and I got myself into treatment. And then from there, it just progressed more and more. When I finally started my sentence, I signed up for every rehabilitative program that the prison offered, and became a completely transformed, changed person. And so when I got out of prison, my goal was to get a job in tech. I ended up landing a job with Microsoft. They rescinded my job offer when they ran my background check. And it was a really hard moment for me, especially getting that job offer, telling my friends, my family, and then having that rescinded. Well, I didn't give up. All that rehabilitation taught me to continue to persevere, to take chances, to take risk. And so I did. I fought Microsoft and I won. I'm proud to say I finished as their #1 B2B surface seller in the entire world last year, hitting 412% of my quota, and my quota was $17 million. I absolutely, love my life today, and all of this is because of self-development. I started a program called Winner's Circle, And the goal of this program is it's an in-prison training program where we not only offer vocational training, but we also offer rehabilitation or self-development. So it's a year-long program. The first 6 months are all self-development, dealing with mindset, transforming the way that they look at the world, transforming what they believe about themselves, because your thoughts are your life. And then the next 6 months of this program is going to be vocational training. We're going to teach them B2B sales skills. So excited to, now be doing something to help impact the world. I also am very passionate about Landmark. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done Landmark, but I am also doing a fundraiser for an event. I reached out to Landmark and asked them to host an event specifically for formerly incarcerated, because I think their self-development program is really amazing. I actually am now just got done with the advanced course and going into the leadership training program. So if anyone's interested in helping fund some scholarships, I'm looking for donations there. And if any of you are interested in the work that I do and want to connect with me, or please let me know. I'm also looking for donations for Winner Circle as well. So hopefully I said everything quick enough.
You did it right on time for the dentist. Let's give it up for Shelly and just acknowledge your commitment in the world that you do, the work that you do in the world. Clearly, it's an important mission if even the dentist has to wait for you to share the message. So that's empowering and important. Before you get taken away, Shelly, please share with us about how we can support you. I heard that looking for donations to support the various causes. I love that you bring in the leadership and the Landmark development.
Yeah.
What about, so this network can support you with donations 100%. So please share a link whenever you have it available for our group. Yeah. We'll add you to our group chat as well.
Yeah.
And on top of that, stages. You have a powerful voice, and this group is filled with coaches, speakers, healers, event hosts. Eric Wesley right there just hosted Wealth Accelerator Summit. You're a powerful speaker. So I just want you to know the types of opportunities in the room go beyond donations. Actually are the types where it's referral stages that can put you in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So with that being said, are you looking for stages? And I just want speaking for Shelly here, who else here is a speaker or event host who would love to get on more stages? Okay, cool. Is inspired to become the kind of speaker or coach who can crush it on stages. Is anybody like that in the room? Okay, cool. I'm just curious. All right, great. So with that being said, let's share. So, give you a little context. I got this download when we were in Croatia on this yacht experience. As a retreat, it was an unconventional life retreat. So Shelly and I just spent time in Egypt at an unconventional life retreat, and at a previous one 3 years ago, I got this download about this speaker circuit. I didn't know what that means, but the idea was that what if we had 10 speakers who are event hosts, and each time one of us is hosting an event, we invite the other 9, and each of us invite 10 people to attend. So now we have a 100-person event. And each of us have literally 100, faces, 90 new faces that we get to present to. And for 9 of us, this can be a lead generation tool, an opportunity to build our list and our database so we can have more offers and fill future events. And for the one person who's hosting, it gets to be a sales opportunity, an opportunity to make an invitation for a program launch, right? Or a fundraiser. And so if we all did it and had a committed community, right? Who sticks to this plan and shares resources freely and generously, invites their friends to these events, then we can really create a scenario where we have unlimited speaking opportunities, unlimited leads, unlimited sales opportunities. And then the bigger each of us get, the bigger all of us get, because our relationships deepen and strengthen with time, and we'll learn about each other and about ourselves in the process. Pretty cool idea, right? So this is what we created, and we've been doing this. It was so amazing. I acknowledge you, Eric, to see, and Brittany and Empress and everybody who was part of the Wealth Accelerator Summit, to see so many incredible speakers from this community show up there, share their gifts with each other. It was incredible. So this is what's available here. So on the spectrum of I'm a speaker to I'm an event host, or I'm both, please type in the chat. I'm a speaker, I'm an event host, I do both. Is it number 1? Is it number 2? Or is it 3? Just type 1, 2, 3 in the chat, or whichever way you want to answer the question. So we have a lot of boths. Great. So with that being the case, If you have a next event date, registration page or anything like this, please share that in the chat. And in fact, we're going to do a rapid fire round. I don't know if this is going to be breakout rooms or with 11 people. We might just do it live. We're going to do like a mastermind round where we're just literally going to share about our talks that we speak on, our stages that we're hosting, and all that good stuff. So I'll give you an example. So I'm hosting an event partnered with, oh my God, Izzy Redwood is coming. I am blessed. More people are joining. Okay, I see your procedure could start anytime, Shelly. So don't worry if you have to jump off. We'll forgive you this one time.
All right, I'll try to jump back on as soon as she's done.
Okay, great.
All right, guys, bye.
So let's do this. Mastermind in full force. Welcome, Izzy Redwood. I'm so stoked for your presence. Please show up on camera when you can. The opportunity here is giving you an example. I'm gonna go rapid fire. So it's September 23rd that I'm speaking and hosting at Made Call. It's a conscious relationship event where the intention of the event is to form 100 romantic partners and couples in real time. Rama is part of the event team, so shout out to Rama, masterminding everything in the background. She's over there. And we're looking for speakers in the realm of relationships, matchmakers, dating coaches. Specifically, we're looking for more men and men's group to target more men. This is in LA, local, okay? So not everywhere in the world. So it's only for people who are willing to travel to LA and for guests who want to attend LA. Soon there'll be a affiliate page where all of you can actually earn some money by sharing the opportunity to attend and find your romantic partner. And currently we have speakers you'll be sharing the stage with. Rama, do you know who do we have confirmed? Because I don't want to misspeak. You don't know. We have a list. I know Greg Britton is confirmed. He's a freaking legend. It's literally slipping my mind.
Greg Britton?
Yes.
What? That's
Yeah.
awesome. You guys need to have Bruce Lipton.
I know they always come in a couple. We haven't locked down.
I was just thinking when you said that about his honeymoon effect book and how like I refuse to get into a relationship until I can be a noble gas to come together with another noble gas. You know what I mean? So that sounds fun, but definitely see if you can get Bruce.
Yeah, we're working on it. So typically when you get the one, you get the other too. So we're literally active in negotiating with all these guys. Okay. All right. So with that being said, it's an epic opportunity to share the stage with A-level speakers, build your brand in a big way, sponsorship opportunities, and really opportunities to put, like, we're looking for speakers, we're looking for sponsors, and we're looking for affiliate partners who want to spread the message about this event and make some money in the process. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you have interest in any of the above, please type it in the chat. And that's all I got. Cool. So with that, I'm gonna pass the mic over to. I'm gonna pass the virtual mic over to Brittany. You got it next. Brittany, who do you got?
Oh, hey. So.
Now we got to do the Manifest X thing. So on 3, we're gonna welcome Brittany, and the way we do this is we're gonna be 1, 2, 3. What's up, Brittany? With insane enthusiasm. Okay. So everyone, right now, find your unmute button. Unmute yourself now, and it's 1, 2, 3. What's up, Brittany?
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 Hello. So, thanks to Joy Grace, who is here on this call. Empress and I got connected to Clint Arthur, who will be speaking here on the 19th. So this is huge. Joy Grace, do you want to share a little bit about Clint Arthur and who he is and how epic and amazing this connection is?
Okay, yeah, sure. I met him back at a business club in 2014, and he was just at the beginning of saying how he was going to do all these big celebrity events, and I just love your cat. Oh, such a beautiful cat. And how kitty. and he's amazing, and he turns people into icons. Get a big event going on the NASDAQ, and another one coming to LA for Beverly Hills, and even in Acapulco, and he's just connected to all kinds of high level players. You guys can find him on LinkedIn. Yeah, and I don't know, what else can I say about him? He's amazing, right?
Yes, yeah, and that
Right.
event with the NASDAQ is like you get a illuminated one of those light up billboards in New York. So if you are a top speaker and ready to really hit the limelight, hit up Empress or I or Joy Grace, and we will get you the info to get in on that. So
Yes, yes.
also the Synergistic Symposium is coming up. But before that, I'm going to pass it over to Empress. And if Eric wants to chime in too for Freedom Week, that is happening at the end of the month.
Woohoo! All right, thank you so much, Brittany. Like you say, enjoy Grace. Yes, it's all about the connections. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Empress here, bringing on some amazing, epic opportunities for us. And like we had the privilege to meet with Clint Arthur in regards to what he does to building up celebrities, you know, here at Manifest X. That's what we do. We incubate you so you can go out there to be successful in the limelight. So yes, indeed, we have the upcoming event. We just finished having our 3-day epic summit, Wealth Acceleration Summit, which now is a series going into Freedom Week, starting on June 26th through July 2nd. We're looking for epic speakers like yourself to get seen and get heard. And we have epic speakers who will be going back, and including Miro. Woo woo! And so intertwining with that, with Miro's event and also with Brittany's Synergistic Symposium, we also have another epic opportunity on MUFIN's platform called Recession Proof Your Business. So if you are an epic speaker that wants to speak alongside celebrities like Les Brown, Sharon Letcher, let us know. And then we're going to be sojourning into Clint Arthur's August 28th event in New York at the NASDAQ, speaking for 5 minutes epically around high net worth individuals. It is an inner circle. It's very private. And so we want to get you connected. And then, of course, with Miro, Harrison Klein, Brittany, like you say, the Cash Flow Concierge, and ourselves, we're going to be in Cabo's retreat, speaking on the major platform with the I'm Greater experience when it comes to the summer retreat, because this is where our multi-million-dollar projects and collaborations happen. So to get started, I'm going to put the Wealth Acceleration Summit website, because we are allowing pre-registrations for Freedom Week to happen. So go ahead and fill that out. And plus, when it comes to our speaking connections at Manifest X, you see the link with the speaker form already in the group chat. Go ahead and apply so we can qualify you so you can speak here at Manifest X and get confident into what you want to speak about so you can take your business to the next level with our services here at Manifest X. Turning back over to you, Miro, or who wants to go next?
A
Well, how about the
quick
Cash Flow
question.
Concierge?
We got a
Quick question,
question.
Empress.
Go ahead.
Yes.
You said what? Can you say that again about the recession proofing your business? I was just that caught my attention as someone who's like helped guide 3 businesses through the recession. Like I was just kind of curious about, like I think it all blended together, so I was just trying to differentiate like what.
Okay, because I was going fast, you know, being laser focused, you know, being mentored by Miro. Yeah, so in summary, we have MUFAN. MUFAN is an event strategist, but what she does is that she empowers entrepreneurs like ourselves to speak alongside celebrities. And these celebrities have financial and marketing strategies that are industry standard when it comes to being recession proof. And so they're going to be dropping their gems and wisdom on August 18th through the 20th on MUFAN's platform called Recession Proof Your Business. So in summary, it's basically for entrepreneurs who want to recession proof their business, and most likely is about building a resilient mindset, but speaking with celebrities who will be speaking like Sharon Letcher, Les Brown, to give you those tools and strategies on how to do that, sir.
Yeah, that's a fire event, Ezzy. In my experience, like her secret sauce is both mindset and authority, like getting on Shark Tank or like those things. Because when you're the category king or queen in your field, yeah, 90% of the people in your game are not going to get paid and they go down and are bankrupt and, you know, go find a job or do a pivot. But there's always that 10% that is the go-to, where the, you know, the rest of the market goes to. So the idea is to be not just the best in what you do, but to also be the best known. If you're the best known, you're the go-to. So
Correct.
she's got some powerful content, incredible speakers. Definitely worth going. But all the events that you hear about are going to be worth going.
Yes. And long story short, we are looking for sponsors. We're looking for speakers, and we also have affiliate opportunities. Make sure you jump on to the I Am Great Experience with Miro's link to get signed up. However, if you want to speak on other platforms, let us know. Definitely please register for the Freedom Week, and we'll take you there to the next level. And I'm gonna pass the baton off to the Cash Flow Concierge. Bring it on that wealth engine. Woo woo. All right, where you at, Cash Flow Concierge?
I'm right here. You stole all my thunder. What else am I supposed to say? We are part of the Wealth Acceleration Summit series. So we just finished Wealth Acceleration Summit, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We're going to be doing Freedom Week, June 26th through June 2nd, through June 26th through July 2nd. Recession Proof Your Business, and then I Am Greater, face-to-face with high net worth people, where we're going to collab and create products that are going to change this world. That's really it.
Go, Eric. I'm stoked about that. Your thunder has not been stolen. Your thunder is very alive, brother. Rock this thunder. I have a question for you, since you just got back from hosting this incredible summit. This is to the benefit of everybody. What was your biggest lesson? Like, what was your biggest win? Like, in all of the success that has produced, what is your biggest win? Like, what are you celebrating personally the most in that experience? And what is the biggest lesson or even mistake that you may have made that we can learn from, and you can too?
So I tell everybody, right? I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, right? I made so many cotton picking mistakes. I don't even know if I can name them all. It's ridiculous. From social media management, picking the wrong cotton picking company, not getting clear on exactly what they're supposed to provide to me. Clarity is the key to success, right? Communication and clarity is the key to success. I think one of the major things that I think I got out of this, right, is, first of all, I started something, I completed it. Done. It's done. Right? That's top. Number two, I got out of this lone wolf mentality. I got a team, epic team, Empress, Casey, Brittany, stop playing. With the team, you can exponentialize your success rate. Get an epic team. You can win by yourself. You really can. But you can exponentialize that. If you know mathematics, it can multiply in a very short amount of time. We started this journey at the end of March. We've already had our 3-day summit. It was a lot of work, but I'm gonna be honest, it was divided amongst. Everybody had their part to do, and everybody came through and pulled through. We have to get better at what we do, seriously, but we did it. We have the pieces. We just got to make that puzzle be a little more sexy.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Let's give it up for Eric and sharing his wisdom. Gorgeous. All right, let's keep it rocking with the stages announcement. Who is hosting stages? Who's looking for stages? Or anywhere in between. If y'all don't have any more, I got like a handful, so I can keep going. Anyone else going once? Going twice. Devin, it looks like you're a workspace assistant. If you can show up on camera, my friend, then we're going to remove you from the chat, from the Zoom. With love, please join us when you can fully participate, my man. All right.
Mira, I want to add some value to what Eric shared about the cash flow concierge. Yeah. And this is a great element, like you say, the debrief, is that when you have an idea and concept, like for example, 90 days ago, when you shared with us, how are we going to create our events? Remember, we got to set the intention, the date, right? So when everybody starts sharing, like, I want to do this by when, I want to create my summit by when, I want to create my webinar or my masterclass by when. Now, when you have that when date, the element is, have you done this before? Have you done a summit before? Have you done a webinar before? If you haven't, it's highly recommended to find a mentor or a coach who has that value time to support you in getting clarity on the date that you projected, because you have a lot of excitement, behind it. But then the next element is having the resources, the money. Do you have the skill set and talent when it comes to that? And so what you do is that you initiate that idea and concept, then you talk to experts like Miro, Empress, Brittany, Eric now, and for me, because I've done things like this before, I said, well, if it's a higher level, I'm gonna go to people who are higher level. And that's when we got Ken D. Foster involved, because he does this on a continuous basis. Then I allow Eric to go to other people who've done it before to give their wisdom. But then you follow your intuition. Can you fulfill that? And then do you have the budget? And then do you have the logistics? Because doing a summit, it takes a value time. It's really, you should plan it out a year in advance. And you should nurture that process. And so what we developed and what I was sharing with Eric is that now we have a turnkey that for those who want to start their summit, guess what? We already have a pre-built summit with everything already lined up. You just hire Brittany, myself, and Eric, and we are summit creators, and we can successfully launch you where you don't have to go through the lesson learned, but be able to improve and optimize at an accelerated level. And that's only available here at Manifest X. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, sir.
Beautiful.
Miro, were you in Kansas City when I did the Rise Fast Summit?
I was. That was insane, y'all.
So I was so stupid. In that I thought it would be a good idea to plan an entire event in 5 months from idea to execution. And I was greatly humbled. And I think that Miro might have been there when I literally was like, people were like, yo, are you okay? I'm like, I think so. I might be, I don't know. And I fell asleep at the bar for the special event we had for all the speakers. Like, I literally fell asleep at the bar at this restaurant that I was paying for them to be at and drink. And I was like, please don't let them run up the tab. It's because I don't know how much we made. But yeah, so I definitely have a lot of respect for that. So
yeah. So you were not stupid, Ezzy, but thank you for sharing. I think the lesson in your share that you shared so humbly is really having a strong support team and being realistic with the time frame. Because when you have a strong support team, you can collapse timelines, right? If you have 100 hands on deck, well, you just kind of get more done faster. It's just kind of how the nature of the beast. But if it's one person, and this is why Eric has just been skyrocketing since he joined us as a member, because the lone wolf syndrome, y'all. This is what my book is about, generational worth, and I'm gonna take this moment to have this be a learnable moment for everyone. This is the biggest issue I've seen in society and humanity. Is that when, and actually have new messaging around this, you're gonna appreciate this. It's the 3 N's, okay? First N is nobility. Nobility is know your ability. Because the issue is people have lone wolf syndrome. And it sounds like this is hard, but I got to do this myself. I have to do this on my own. I don't want to burden anybody with this hard work. I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to ask, And so we end up carrying the burden on our own, right? And then issues come, it leads to stress, physical issues, mindset issues, doubt, and you're just not going to have the quality of the event or product that you're creating that you would if you were supported. And the worst case scenarios, and I call it also the entrepreneur isolation trap, is when these beliefs and these issues start to fester. And we're not sharing, we're not connecting. We continue to blindside tunnel vision, just keep working harder, see if that solves anything. And people literally get into depression and spiral down. And this is why literally any event that we go to that has 100 attendees, there's at least one person who's contemplating suicide right now. And that's just the truth of it. And that's every day. Who here knows somebody in their life, in their family, who's directly impacted with suicide, right? I know that's everybody. I just know. And so this is why this is the biggest issue I see in humanity, because when people start having issues, instead of reaching out for support, right? Being connected, getting that support, breaking through the issues and improving and moving forward, they faster spiral down on their own. So I acknowledge each of you for being here, even on days you don't feel like coming, because by you being that example, being a source of support, because you fill your cup up, now you're able to give more to others. And that's so the first N is know your ability. That's your infinite self-worth, but also mastering your skill set. You know, as a human being, we're here to improve ourselves, to become more than we currently are, so we can serve more. And so the first N is know your ability, nobility. And the second N is your network. Now you're able to connect with others, whether it's receiving, filling your cup, or giving. And sometimes the giving is in the receiving. You know that feeling you get when you help somebody who's going through a difficult time and they feel better and they thank you so much for the help that you give them. Well, guess what? When you're having an issue and you don't share it with another person, you're robbing them of that feeling. So it feels good to help another person. Don't rob someone else of that feeling when you're in your shit. Okay, so this is why it's so important to be connected to your nobility. Be aware of your frequency and your self-worth. You deserve to be connected. Master your network, continuously up-level your network, reaching up to help others, but also, you know, reaching others up, but also reaching up for your elevation. And then third, it impacts your net worth. The third N is your net worth. So that's your maximizing your earning potential, information, lessons about assets, you know, increasing your skill set. And so when you do, you have more options, more opportunities to invest in yourself, to invest in your skill set, to raise your frequency, to, you know what I mean, spiral up. And so all the things that solve problems and make life easier start to flow. And so when it goes well and it spirals up and you are being connected, and you are being supported, and you are collaborating, then you get into a flow where the better it gets, the better it gets. And there's no limit to how much better it gets, because you can continue to upgrade your skill set, your ability, your sense of self-worth, your community, and get into higher social circles and bring people up with you and invest in yourself more and maximize your earning potential. And it just continues to go up and up and up. There's really no limit to how far you can take this. So this is why, you know, the biggest issue, your biggest pain can become your biggest purpose, your biggest message, and your biggest payoff. You take that shit inside and put it out there, and literally it loses its power. Because when we share it, like, it just like goes away. So does this make sense, you guys? Are y'all getting this?
Oh no, it makes sense. And to add value, Miro, in what you're sharing that's in alignment, is that the key point is the skill set. So once you identify, become self-aware of that limited belief, and you now go into the level of your skill set, when it comes to events, this is where you can go and be a contributor and adding value to that person who's hosting the event to improve your skill set when it comes to your event to get supported. And you get to see your success and challenges and begin to sharpen those skill sets to be empowered. Just like when Brittany came in with her skill set, you know, Casey came in with her skill set, and then began to learn the diversity of things, of how things work together in an infrastructure. And so, and get realigned and readjust and say, you know what, this ain't me. Like, okay, the landing page, fuck that shit, ain't me. You know, I'm just, you know, I buy with the speakers and this like that. You start to navigate and begin to create your journal of what you like, what you don't like, but what things you want to improve on. So having that support, back to you, Miro, improving your skill set.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a mastery, it's a practice. So we don't have to be attached to the outcome, like defining our sense of well-being or self-worth on whether it's a failure or a success, because the practice is where it's at. If you continue to stay in the game of mastering a skill set, then you don't care if this goes this way or this way, because every event that happens is neutral. It's a data point. And the failure is not final or fatal. It's a data point. And it makes you better. You never start from scratch. You always start from experience.
Also want to highlight Joy Grace has her hand up.
All right, Joe Grace. We're going to do the 1, 2, 3. What's up, Joe Grace? 1, 2, 3. What's up, Joe Grace?
What's up, Joe Grace?
What's up, Joy Grace?
Hello. So I just wanted to put out that I just completed, or Tuesday night I'll finish Landmark, because we did the weekend, and then Tuesday night we have to invite people. And one of the participants is also doing stuff with the re-entry point of prisoners coming in back in Northern California. I wanted to make certain that I say that. And then also, the person who brought me to Landmark that I met through the business club and reached out to me on LinkedIn, he has the first annual global possibilities conference, and the tentative dates are August 22nd to the 25th of 2024. So that's going to be 14 months out. And we're going to give a Living Legacy Award. The first recipient is going to be Dr. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. The other two are just as famous and slightly more famous, but I'm not allowed to say who they are just yet. And so we're very excited about that. There's going to be all kinds of sponsorship and speaker opportunities and all of that going on. And then also, I'm happy to connect you, I'm happy to have another mastermind or another session where I can give you all the contact information or reach out. I have friends who do relationship, Orna and Matthew Walters, they're in California. Perhaps Adam Markell and his wife might be willing, I don't know, but they do relationship, or they were doing relationship stuff. And he taught something on resilience during the 2020 pandemic. And gosh, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of other, speakers and people that I'm happy to connect you to, because I was an active member of CEO Space for 13 years, 12 years. So I have all kinds of people to connect you to.
Love that. I love the passion and your desire to contribute, and I acknowledge you for all your abundant resources, Joy Grace. Such a pleasure to have you here. And I want to offer some structure for the way that we mastermind.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. So the quality question that we ask really determines the quality of our lives. And one of the questions that I want to offer to everybody to just immediately type into the chat as you hear it is, what is your single biggest challenge right now? Or what is your single biggest question right now? Right? And here's why I'm gonna give you context. Normally when you're in a conversation with someone, we're sharing resources, we're sharing information, right? But here's the thing. When we actually ask quality question to pinpoint what's actually the root cause of a problem that another person has, then we're able to give them the one thing that is like a small hinges swing big doors. And it comes from asking a series of quality questions. And so when we all, right, it's 10 of us on this call. When we're all crystal clear, say for what Joy Grace needs, we're all crystal clear what Ezzy needs for his next conference. We're all crystal clear on what Brittany needs. Now we can say, well, you know what you need is that one speaker. What you need is that one sponsor. That will move the needle forward. You see what I'm saying? So instead of having information overwhelm, we're just like, like a bullseye dart. Y'all with me?
Correct. And Mira, what is give us an example of a quality question? Quality question.
I love having you around, Empress. This is awesome. Let's go. So
Evermore.
I give you a clue. The one question that has been consistently the most potent in my experience is literally asking, what is your single biggest challenge right now? Or what is your single biggest challenge right now when it comes to blank? And when I say blank, this is the stated biggest goal that they have, right? But so that implies that you know what's your most important priority right now. So let's dial it back a little bit. I'm gonna do a model, and then we're gonna do a quick breakout room for Mastermind. Okay, y'all with me? We're just gonna do the thing. In fact, let's bring up some slides. Right? We've got a script for this. We've got a model for this. We have the 8-minute Mastermind model. It's been reliable in solving any problem in 8 minutes or less, and it's never not worked. So we're just gonna use it. Let's see who can pull it up first. Who wins at bringing our fancy questions? All right. Okay, here we go. Great. Ha, I got it.
I got mine. I was like, wait, I ain't even got host and share. Or do I got share? I ain't had no share rights.
Oh, snap.
Y'all didn't share. Oh, oop.
Yeah.
There
Okay,
we
okay. Well, I can super easily give you access to share. It actually supports me when you're sharing, Empress, and I'm talking. That way we can utilize the power of support.
Yes, come on with it, Meryl.
You come on with it. All right, so I'm gonna stop the share. I'm gonna give you the powers, Empress. We'll do this in real time. Co-host.
Ooh, I like that.
Boom.
Let me see. You gotta support me, co-host. There we go.
Cool. So we're gonna do the seeds, crops, and we get into the question format. Okay.
All right, let me get this.
And the opportunity here, guys, is to be in the experience. It's going to be a multi-dimensional experience. Okay. It's be in the experience. That means you hear the question, you answer the question, and be honest. What's real and relevant in your life. You can give the fluff answer and go like, my life is perfect, everything is fine, so I'm gonna give the throwaway answer. Sure, then you're gonna leave away with very little value. Or you can go deep, right? It's like, here's actually my biggest painful problem, and I've been struggling for years, so I'm offering it. Boom, right? And actually have a breakthrough. So that's up to you. Great. Let's go. And so the opportunity is multidimensional. Be real and relevant in your responses and learn this format. You do this, you keep coming back to this over and over again. You're going to start memorizing the questions. You're going to start being able to do this when you host your event, when you host your retreat, when you have your summit, when you meet with your speakers and everybody is a heavy hitter. And you're like, what the fuck do I do with all this greatness? Well, follow this model and you'll be able to extract the value in everybody's brain. So everybody has a breakthrough. They get to be connected to each other because I believe we're each other's medicine. All right, so seeds. What are seeds, Empress? What is seeds for? We'll plant seeds and we sow crops. So seed stands for seek in every encounter to diagnose, serve, and support. Seek in every encounter to diagnose and serve and support. So what that also means, in other words, and this is a doctor's analogy, right? So you go to the doctor and the doctor like doesn't even look at your face and says, you need 12 of these pills and you need to take them every day. You're like, what the fuck? You don't even know my name. You haven't seen my face. Like, what? You'd be like, I'm not coming back to this fucking doctor. But what if the opposite, right? What if the opposite is true? So basically, here's the problem. I'm just going to say it the way it is. Dude, there's another magical story. I'm going to go with the magical story. Y'all want the magical story?
Yes.
All right, cool. Let's go. Type magic if you want the magic story. Because there's one magical story that's super relevant to this that will also help you sell more of your offers than you ever have. It's literally the one thing that separates you from the other 99,000 people who are marketing to your ideal clients every day. So what that is this. Imagine this. You go to the doctor, okay, and you have a headache. You say, doctor, I have a headache. And the doctor says, okay, so let me guess. When you put your head on the pillow, it gets worse? Like, yes. And then the walls start to wobble and the world starts spinning a little bit. You're like, yes. How do you know? Like, get out of my head. That's crazy. And then you go, so when you walk down the stairs, you start having this pounding pain in your head. Like, yeah. And when you get in your car, you start like having to pull over because the whole world is like swirling around. You're like, yeah, what the fuck? And then the doctor says, well, I have no idea what that is. I can't help you. It'd be kind of unbelievable, right? So here's the principle. Prescription without proper diagnosis is malpractice. What? Prescription without proper diagnosis is malpractice. So if I'm going out dishing out advice in medicine, but I never realize what's actually going on for this person, I just might be sending them on a goose hunt or whatever. I don't know if that's the thing. So this is why we ask quality questions. All right. So get back to the seeds. Seek in every encounter to diagnose and support. I've worked in consulting prior to becoming an entrepreneur. And this is why UX designers get paid the big bucks. Like everybody's trying to solve problems in the organization. And these guys are making anywhere between 80 grand and $160,000 every year because they actually identify the right problem. How about spending time on actually identifying the right problem instead of just throwing band-aids and shit? All right, cool. I'm getting off my passion rant. So y'all clear? So we're gonna have some questions about getting clear on that. And so that's the seeds phase. Once everyone here in the mastermind setting is crystal clear. Okay, let's say Brittany's on hot seat, we're crystal clear. Okay, her core problem is this. We're all on the same page about it. Then magic happens. We're able to give resources that are so spot on that the floodgates open and small hinges open big doors. Cool. Okay, let's go to phase 2. Welcome, Monique. Welcome, Kermit. Y'all on time. We're about to get into masterminding with the seeds and the crops. I know you've done this before, so I love your support, by the way, Empress. You crushing it with the slides.
Thank you.
Let's give it up for Empress. Let's fucking go.
Woo woo.
And those
Like
of
you
you who
say,
are here,
that feminine masculine energy. Woo woo.
yeah, we want to do a whole good cup, bad cup episode of this mastermind soon. I decided. So by the way, those of you who are here for the manifesting and the meditation or for the quantum work, stay tuned. I got you. It's coming. It's coming. All right, next slide. CROPS. So what is this all about? CROPS is an acronym. It's connections, resources, opportunity, people, and systems. What? Why is that important? So literally today, I made introductions between two powerhouses. Like, imagine you take the most, people ask me all the time, how do I have this incredible network? You know, I have millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires in my network now. I have a $1 billion Rolodex. Like, I have literally my network. If you were summing up the net worth of all the individuals in my phone, $1 billion Rolodex. I'm not joking. And so how did I get here? I didn't start here. Actually, my buddy Ezzy, who's right here, inspired me years ago. He actually had intentional goals. I want to have 20 millionaire friends and like 8 billionaire friends by 2023 or some stuff, he said. I was like, shit, I didn't know you could do that. You can have networking goals. That's amazing. And so, yeah, be intentional about your network. It's possible. You just speak it out loud. It happens, right? So what I've done and how I got here and having this incredible network is I would find the most successful person I know and start asking quality questions like, who is the most badass entrepreneur that you know? And then I'll say a name. It's like, okay, please introduce me to a name, right? And then I would start like networking up, and I would say, hey, what's your single biggest challenge right now? Remember that question I said when somebody asked me about quality questions? We got Jay now. So welcome, Jay. Possibilities loom. Single biggest question. What's the single biggest question you have? What is the single biggest problem you have? Well, now they're going to tell me where I can make the biggest difference for them to offer value. It's like, oh, you have this problem, meet this person. And I make an introduction. And guess what? Those two people, the only thing they have in common is they know me. So the first thing they're going to talk about is, oh, Miro is a great guy, right? So now I have my successful people vibe at a really high level. And you know, I'm in conversation in their minds because I'm elevated. And so I'm sharing this with you because that's the opportunity for you. When you're here, you're meeting amazing people. What's their single biggest problem? Make that connection to them. Connect them to that resource or system. Why systems? When you offer a system, you're not just putting a band-aid, you're solving a problem not just once, you solve it forever. How would you like to solve a problem forever where you don't ever have to think about it again, right? Before the phone was invented, we were sending what? Letters, smoke signals, telegrams,
Little can things.
right? But phones came around, smartphones came around. We don't need to worry about all of that. You people used to have a DSLR camera, a fax, and a printer, and like 1,000 devices, and now it's a smartphone. System solves everything, right? So you want to offer people a system wherever you have that. So that's seeds and that's crops. And when we do masterminding, we're going to get into all of that and ask the quality questions. And before we do all of that, I want to acknowledge the master, the mentor, the generational wealth expert in the room, my dear friend and mentor, Jay Lawrence. Jay Lawrence, speak to the people, my man. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Everybody open up mics and say, hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
For a moment, I thought you was an avatar. For a moment, I thought you was an avatar. I was like, is that an avatar?
Hey, I want to say, first off, thank you for the love. You guys make me always feel like I'm supposed to be here. So I want to first say that obviously Miro, the funny thing about Miro is that he actually has so much pent up genius that when you get to spend a few minutes with him, and I always talk to Miro about, yo, slow down a little bit you know, it's like his pace goes, he's got this infinite top of sort of excellence. And so we all get that. And we really appreciate you, Miro. So, hey, you guys, when you get an opportunity to spend some one-on-one time with Miro and just kind of get into the nuances, not with a group, but just one, I think it's one of the most valuable experiences that you can actually have. But make sure you're taking notes as you go along, because within 5 minutes, you know, like Britt is going like, yeah, that's exactly right. You're going to want to go back in because he processes information so quickly. And I think, you know, the normal person glosses over really 80% of the value that he's actually bringing. So again, plug into him when you get an opportunity. He's super busy. And officially, Miro's on our team. So what that means is that we've sucked a lot of the oxygen out of his his room to spend time with everyone else. And so if you haven't put Miro on your payroll yet, you're missing the boat, right? Right. So I came in, I was like, whoa, we recognize genius. We're gonna put this dude on some numbers so he can like give us some daily attention. So I would assume that some of you others would want to give, you know, open up that, I'm going to use that old school checkbook, right? Open up your checkbook and give that brother a little bit of time. I think it's going to be very, very valuable to your individual businesses. All right. That said, go ahead, Miro. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, thank you. And the benefit of doing one-on-one sessions with me is you get the recordings of everything we talk about, so you can go over it again as many times as you want.
There you go. So I want to give you guys something that you can actually walk away with today, and you can monetize. Literally, if you're in the real estate space, you can monetize right now. Okay. So you guys, a lot of times when I come on, you know, we're kind of thinking in terms of mindset. Remember, there's 5 elements of wealth. 1 is your mindset, spirituality. Number 2 is your fitness wealth. That's your fitness, your nutrition, and your wellness. Number 3 is your social. Number 4 is your intellect. And number 5 is really your personal economy and your financial, right? But those are the 5 elements of your wealth. And we're going to kind of get to the point where, how many of you, by show of hands, please, by show of hands, who has actually purchased a piece of real estate before in your life? Show of hands. Physical. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me keep scrolling through. Let me change my view so I can see the gallery. Go ahead. One more time. Give it to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we want to empower those who've done this before to learn how to precisely ride the bicycle, right? So how many of you know for a fact what the largest economy on the planet is? Who has the largest economy on the planet? Come on.
I think it's the USA, right?
Excellent. Okay. In the world's largest economy, if we're number 1, who's number 2?
China.
China.
Exactly. This is if you get this one, you're good. Who's number 11? That's conjecture, but it depends on who's number 11. Go ahead. As of 2022, who's number 11? Don't look it up. Come on.
It's not a country, is it? It's
a country. Monique, I don't know. Is that a picture of Monique? Is okay. I thought you was looking it up, girl. Don't be cheating now. Come on now.
Yeah, because doesn't California technically qualify?
California's number 5, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. California's number 5. That's great. Wow. Who's number 11? Nobody knows?
Germany.
Believe it or not, it's Russia.
I was gonna say Russia. I was like, Russia was in my spirit. I was like, it's the BRIC. It's Britain. You got Russia, India, China, but then it's US, China. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
These are worthy numbers. You know what? What did they say? Act globally. What does it say? No, think globally, act locally, right? So the global notion is that, you know, when you guys are hearing all these numbers, whether you're on CNN or on Facebook or wherever you hear LinkedIn, you hear your news, right? And you start to see these memes, they're throwing out these numbers. And did you know that the U.S. military spends $880 billion annually on military? And China has got, Russia has got a total GDP. That includes the top that Putin pulls off. 1.1 trillion. I'm gonna say it one more time. Just on one agency in the United States is $880 billion. And Russia's entire economy is 1.1 trillion. Y'all want me to say it again. So anytime you hear that Russia's the issue with some wars or some other crap, that's complete theater. It's not real. Go to the numbers. Okay? $880 billion in one agency. We happen to have, it's right around $24 trillion economy in the United States. That's annual. And it goes up every year. You know, these clowns are in DC right now arguing over the budget. It's all theater. What do they do every year? Sign the freaking document, right? Come on. I want women, particularly, are you Caucasian? How many Caucasian ladies do we have? Who got some Caucasian blood? Brittany, you look kind of light skinned. You know, you got some Caucasian going on up in there. Monique, you look like you got Spanish or something. I got some Caucasian in me. Look, if you black, I know Nero got some, right? Yeah. Come on now, we all a blend, right? Do you know that these people have set us up? They literally are telling us one story, and the truth cannot be farther from what they're telling us. They want us to believe that the United States somehow is being disenfranchised by all these other countries. How are you going to have the world's largest economy and turn around and be worried about Russia? Are you kidding me? No, it just serves a purpose, right? Because Russia's putting pressure on who? Europe. And guess what? Germany got the third or fourth largest economy on the planet. Are you kidding me? Germany's not worried about Russia. You know why? Because they got the US, and you know doggone well we ain't gonna let Britain go, because they still are colonial masters. Who knows what the global estate trust is by show of hands? Come on, y'all. It's your boy. All right. You know what they call me in the wealth business? They call me the Godfather. You know why? Because I'll come on and I literally have some dudes that's like hanging out in Davos and some of these guys. And they sit down with me. They're like, man, I didn't know that. I said, check the facts. And I keep giving it to them like this, like we had to, you know what I mean? So I'm going to give you guys something. I'm going to share with you how the world's largest economy has this one enterprise, which is the world's, is the largest industry in that economy. What enterprise is that? Somebody tell me. Who hasn't heard it from me before? Miro, be quiet. Who? Okay.
Can you repeat it one more time, please?
What is it?
No, can you repeat the question one more time, please?
What is the world's largest? Okay, in the world's largest economy, what's the largest actual industry?
Oil.
Defense. Defense. Yeah, defense.
Exchange.
Defense. Military. Defense.
You know what this is called? The world's greatest misinformation campaign. You know how I can tell? Super bright, very intelligent, well-heeled, knowledge individuals are right here on the Zoom. And none of y'all know what it is. How can you not know? Say again?
Pharmaceutical.
Again, that's a validation. This is not hate. This is love. I'm giving it to you.
Technology?
Real estate.
Number one industry is real estate.
I was gonna say that. Dang, my mama always told me, "Go with your first thought, Empress." Oh, and I was like, man, real estate, that's so easy. But
okay, who controls real estate in the United States?
Government.
Keep going.
Big businesses.
Keep going.
Corporations.
Kermit, what'd you say?
Corporations.
Keep going. Be more specific.
Bill Gates.
Hedge fund. I'm counting on you. Come on, Callie. Give it to me.
I know McDonald's and the Catholic Church probably have the largest amount of real estate.
Like scalpel.
I was gonna say the Queen of
England.
England.
Specific. Brittany was like.
I was gonna say, yeah, McDonald's.
And the Catholic Church.
And I'm gonna say, the British. They own a lot of real estate. The Queen of England.
Look, cash flow concierge. What do
China.
you?
Federal Reserve, how about that?
Sir, so your question is, who is the largest landowner in the US
Who's
today?
the- who controls the largest industry? If the largest industry,
And the largest industry is real estate.
Banks.
industry is real estate, who controls it?
That's banks. Somebody just said, I think banks control. I
Bingo.
think whoever just said that.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Okay.
I
So
get the mortgage from somebody.
right. Okay. So let me share with you a tiny story. You guys ready? The story goes this way. He who controls the gold, what? Finish that.
Controls the world.
Makes the rules.
Rules.
That's
Right.
the yeah, golden rule.
Right. Everybody saw that. It's been on a poster or something, right? Back, it's like one of these statements. You know who came up with that? Way, way back in the day, in the late 1800s. Historical context matters. Anybody know Napoleon Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was Napoleon Hill's actual mentor?
Dale Carnegie.
Thank you.
Right.
That's who came up with that. He who owns the gold makes the rules.
It's a multi-billionaire.
Right. So here's how this thing works. The crazy part is, did you realize, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, that's a de facto, like if it's in there, that's the rule. So you see the Supreme Court here in the United States, that 9-body, those people, they determine exactly what we do every day. You realize that, right? Like nothing else matters except what they say. Because all you have to do is get two lawyers together and they'll battle their way up to where? Supreme Court. And when the Supreme Court says that's going to happen. Are we all, by show of hands, we're in agreement of that? Okay. You guys remember that dude that used to be in the White House, that orange dude? What was his name again?
Dump.
Right. Okay.
Real name Frump.
Yeah, like the most amazing tan, right? That dude would come on TV. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm wearing glasses, but didn't he have like this, like he was wearing the goggles, he was on a spray tan thing, and they were like shooting that dude. He was getting a spray tan in the White House. Come on now. Right. Well, as it turns out, wasn't he trying to hide his tax returns? And at the federal level, were they ever able to crack his tax returns? At the state level, they were able to do it. You know why? Because he was being dumb. He had entities that were actually tied to a state. You see, there's levels to this thing. So in case you guys don't know, so why do they call me the Godfather of Wealth? Because I create these legacy defining structures that when you have the right LLC and the right type of trust and the right type of foundation and the right title holding company, who knows what a title holding company is? Do I show of hands? What does it do? You raise your hand. What does it do?
Holds the title.
Controls the title and deed to the asset property.
So a title holding company is whatever you put inside of it, think of it as a container. Whatever you put inside of it, it now shares title with the other entities that's inside of it. Now, if this is over your head, don't worry about it. I'm going to make sure you get caught up. It will be weeks that we're going to be on this thing. I'm going to teach you this stuff so you will know it like the back of your hand. Exactly, right? Kermit's like, yeah, I represent that movement. So here's why it's so important. These are the things that they neglected to by proxy to not teach you while you were in the 3rd grade, 4th, all the way up through. Does anybody have a P8? No, let's start this. Does anybody have a degree? Who's got a degree, a college degree, university degree? By show of hands. Okay, right? How many of you have a master's degree? Keep your hands up if you got a master's. Okay, some couple smarty pantses over here, right? 3, 4 smarty pantses. How many of y'all got a PhD? By show of hands, a doctorate. Okay.
Honorary.
Honoraries. Okay. So here's what I want you to know. They purposely fleeced you from the very knowledge that was required for you to actually create generational wealth, not by label, but actually by bank account. How many of you are independently wealthy? By show of hands. Okay. Well, we got some people that got master's degrees, right? So if the measure in the United States, by all measures, I say there's 5 elements to wealth. If you're really wealthy, you've mastered all 5. What did I say? Spiritual, mindset, fitting well, social, intellect, personal economy, or finance. Did your PhD, master's, BA, AA, high school diploma, middle school, how many of y'all did the little walk when you was in the 6th grade? Like you walk, like you did. So, you remember that? I know. Come on now. We know our parents is all like Juice is like, right. My little empress is gonna walk, Even 3rd grade. Some of y'all had a 3rd grade graduation. I did. Let me tell you where I'm going with this. They're intentional in the way that they want to make sure that you are chasing the wrong bag. You know how I can tell? Because I asked you guys some super simple, basic questions. What's the world's largest economy? 80% of y'all got it wrong. I asked you what industry was in the world. What was the #1 industry in the world's largest economy? Again, 80% of y'all got it wrong. I asked you exactly like who controls it. 90% of y'all got it wrong. And this is not against you. This is the reality of the situation. Think about how they're teaching you things that have no bearing on you creating generational wealth. Here's the definition of generational wealth. You ready? That by the time you are 60 years old, your great-great-grandchildren's education is paid for. They can go to SC, they can go to Cornell, they can go to Cambridge. They can take a wealth course. They can take any kind of go on any pathway of which they choose, but money will not be the thing that slows them down from getting the education of which that they believe they need. How many of you right now, by show of hands, have already cracked that code? I'm raising my hand. Because when it's all said and done, the only thing that really matters is what? What you do for those who are not even born yet, who are going to carry your name. That's it. By show of hands, does everybody acknowledge that that's probably a good measure of the life that you live, right? Because it can't be about you. If it is, man, really? Right. So here's how this thing works. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, banking and insurance is the same thing. I'm going to let you marinate on that for a second. Think about what I just said. Did you know when they're running commercials for Chase, B of A, Wells Fargo, whatever bank, city, wherever you are in the nation, and then they'll run another campaign for like, I don't know, Liberty Mutual, New York Life, all these, they're the same entity. Why is that important? Because when's the last time you were able to buy a piece of real estate and you didn't have to get a bank involved or a financial company for the rest of the money? You may have a down payment, but rarely are you going to be in any city that's worth living in. Miami, New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, these bigger cities. Now you can certainly go to Tupelo, Mississippi and probably pull out of your pocket and buy a piece of real estate and put your double wide on that thing and be good. Because it's probably going to cost you less than 50 rack. Yes? But if you really want to be where people want to be, you're going to have to go to the bank. Am I yes or am I yes? When's the last time you also were able to get a loan from the bank? And by the time you're sitting at if you're in Georgia, when you're buying property, you have to sit at a closing attorney. That person has to be there. If you're in California, you have to be at a title company, right? So we've done real estate transactions in New York and in Texas and in California, in Washington State, in Colorado, in Florida, in South Carolina, in North Carolina, and Georgia, and Tennessee, and the list goes on and on and on and on. You know why? Because I have trust. Let me give you all a sidebar. Did you realize when you actually have the following? It's called a write it down. It's called a non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust. I'm going to say it again. Ready? Non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust. Again, Muriel pops it into the chat. Let's break this down for a second. You guys ready? Now, Jay-Z said it best. I'm giving you $1 billion worth of game for $9.99. That's my dude. Rama's like, what is he talking about? He's up here quoting Jigga. Here's how it works. Non-grantor. In the world of trust, non-grantor actually means the person who's granting the assets has no fiduciary connection, financial fiduciary connection with the actual trust. That means non-grantor. That means that if you're non-grantor, the person who's granting the asset, money, crypto, property, whatever, I mean, it can be, I know some guys that have trusts that they created their trust and they were like, hey, Jay, can we do this with a Toro business? I'm like, yes. Literally, brother has 22, 25, somewhere in there, Toro cars in trust. He's running an entire Toro business in trust. I'll share with you why in a second, but let's just keep going. Non-grantor means that you are transferring your assets and now you're just giving it to God. I ain't got nothing to do with it. And for most people, what are you taught? No, that's mine. If you grew up in a Black household, you got Black people around you. And half my family is Puerto Rican, and they keep on talking about they Puerto Rican. I said, nah, y'all just got dropped off earlier than we got dropped off, okay? Because y'all was on a boat too. The fact of the matter is that non-grantor simply means that you are literally giving it, you have no ownership in that asset anymore. And for most people, we're taught in our community, I need to own that thing. What did they teach you about that house with that picket fence and that 2-car garage and them 2.5 kids, right? I'm going to own the American dream. Isn't that part of it's the terminology, own the thing, right? Well, you know what? That Rockefeller dude, he been saying it way back in the day. He was like, own nothing, control everything. It's the opposite of what you've been. It's so crazy, right? How they're like, everything you need to know in America is all hidden in plain sight. The dichotomy between I need to own it, but the people that are the richest, they own nothing. They control everything, though. So what the banking and the insurance industry has set up, they made the world's largest industry in the world's largest economy. We only got 380 million people. China got 1.4, India got 1.2 billion. So if wealth was determined based on your citizenry, they would crush us, right? Like Indonesia got 1 billion people. So it can't be that. What's the reason? Why is it that? And I'm going to answer that question in a second, but stay with me. I hope you guys are tracking me. Because if you could tell, I like to talk about this, but I always come back to subject matter. This is what we do. What I want you to understand is the following. In the world's largest economy, which is real estate, in order for you to get a loan, don't you have to have insurance? You think that's the accident? Have you ever got a loan and they actually allowed you to secure and complete that loan? They may even give you 30 days, but I guarantee on the 31st day, you better have had that loan in place or that loan is going to be rescinded. And in fact, if you ever try to call some real estate and you got some attorneys sitting there, they're looking for the following. And that's what the title company's for, to make sure that what? The property is clear, no encumbrances, right? That you have the money from the bank, you have your down payment, which is your shackles that you threw in, but you better have some insurance. Why? Because if the dirt burns up, you better have it insured. You can't burn dirt. You get the point? They put this together to ensure that they get paid from their left pocket and their right pocket. This should be a revelation to some of you guys. Okay? Those who own the gold make the rules. That's what he was saying. Okay? The Rockefellers are talking about control everything, own nothing. Right? The Carnegies of the world are talking about the ownership of things and the control of things, right? So let's face it. If a bank and the insurance company is the same and they're controlling the world's largest economy, how in the heck with technology and government and military and agriculture, how is real estate the #1 industry? You know how? Because they control the value of real estate. If you've ever bought a piece of property, so we got multiple investment property, meaning that we have a multi-units, multiple doorknobs, right? Around the United States, right? And I never conflate, meaning that any business that you have, that business should stand on its own. I never take money from one business to pay into another business. I learned that. The fastest way for you to harpoon your entire wealth is to pull money from one business and have it pay for another business. You know why? Because that means that the other business that you're in, you shouldn't be in if it can't hold its own. Makes sense, right? So imagine this. Imagine you guys being so powerful in America that you can actually create an industry of which that you control 100%, and it ends up being the largest on the planet. Why? Because when you go and get a piece of real estate, what do they force you to do? If you're going to get money from a bank, from a finance company, what's the first thing they force you to do?
Insure it.
Insure it.
No. What's the first thing they want you to do? Get an appraisal.
Oh, that's all. I was like, dang, let's give me some time. Look at it. You get an appraisal, and then they come back and want to negotiate.
Right. They want you to get an appraisal. Why do they want you to get an appraisal?
The value.
So they can tell you how much it's worth.
Right. Only in the rarest of the rarest occasions does the value of a piece of real estate in America go down. They pull all the levers to ensure that if you're going to do anything, what are all those gurus? Who's on YouTube? Go real estate investment, search that on YouTube. You're going to find probably the most, everybody and their mama's an expert. Everybody's trying to tell you they got a wiggle to do something in real estate. There's some aspect of real estate that they're trying to sell you on. Yes or yes?
Yes.
How many times have you ever had this conversation with anybody in real estate? The one we're having today. You know why? For real. Because the 99.9% of those experts, they're in the real estate segment. They're trying to sell you something in their segment. Maybe there's somebody who's trying to show you real estate and they want you to do what? Sell it to you so they can collect their commission. Maybe they're in the money side of real estate and they want to do what? Sell you something that's associated with you buying money from them because they're a mortgage broker, right? So understand all of the elements. And when you're going on, you're doing your research, if you know all of the elements, at least when you're searching and you're having this dialogue where they're talking to you, right? And they're persuading you to do or not to do. At least I want you to make sure that you're well formed in exactly the perspective of which and the motivation of which that those individuals are giving you information that you're going to make a decision on and spend your hard-earned money on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. Be woke. There's method to the madness. So what did we identify? World's largest economy,
Yes.
world's largest industry, who controls the industry, with the motivation of those two entities is to do what? To continue to see that the price of real estate continues to go up. Why? Because they can loan you more money. So they can have a bigger insurance policy. So when every time, by those who, we had 4 people that raised their hands, 5, you count me, that have real estate. This is something that happens every 3 to 7 years in real estate. What is it? Go ahead, Rama. Give it to me.
Renewal for the mortgage. They bite you again.
Right? They want you to take another bite at the apple. They want you to reset that mortgage. Okay. You know how many millions of people every year are resetting their mortgages? Right? The goal is to keep you in what? Rama, say it with me. Keep you in debt.
Hooked. They want to keep you hooked forever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a perpetual thing. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, this is the US economy as a microcosm. Everything else they're telling you is a percentage of the problem and or the solution or the opportunity or the boat anchor. But the world's largest economy is real estate. And if you're in real estate, particularly, you know, the worst thing that you can own. I'm gonna bust a bubble right now. Monique, I love it.
It's the worst thing to own a house.
The worst thing you can own, right, is your single family dwelling. It's the worst investment on the planet. It's the number one, it's the most money you'll ever spend, where you will lose the most of actual capital that you can be using as investable capital. And I'm going to share something with you guys that's going to seem oxymoronic because they have been messaging you since you were a little kid. When they told you that you want to have a house, a picket fence, right? You want to have your own garage and you want it to be tied to what? Your name. When you do the math, it's the worst. You know the best? Live in your parents' basement until you have enough positive cash flow from all your investment properties to pay the mortgage on the property that you want to live in. I'm gonna say it again. Whether you sofa surfing, one of my kids sofa surfed for 5 years. He's graduating from UC Irvine in a week. Full ride, pure academic. He literally sofa surfed for 5 years to make sure that he was in a scenario that when he graduates, he's got zero debt. His main thing was, I'm going to save whatever shekels I have. I'm going to get all the loans and all the grants, not loans, but all the grants. And he didn't start his college career until he was 25 years old. He took dad's message to heart. He's going to graduate with a BA in political science. He got a full academic ride at UC Irvine right here in Southern California. And his sister, his little sister, got a full ride at USC, pre-med, medical. We have zero debt between them two kids. You know why? Because I was like, don't go to school if you have to take out a loan. It's the dumbest thing next to you getting a mortgage of a house that you live in. That's the 1-2 punch. Yeah, Britt's like, what the? Okay. I hope this conversation is enlightening. Okay. They
Oh,
keep
it's
running
very
these commercials.
enlightening.
Say
It's
again?
very enlightening. Yeah, it's like,
I want to make a point, share a personal example of what you're sharing about with this bubble bursting experience, about the worst investment being your own single family dwelling. I experienced that myself. So in Kansas City, I think it's 2010, I got out of college and did my corporate career for 5 years, built my credit, stacked everything up. I bought an epic condo. Actually really proud. I put $3,000 of my own money down, and I ended up getting a $100,000 condo. And in just 2 years, it increased in value to $120,000. And at that point, I made this critical mistake. I sold it. And I sold it to pay my credit card debt. And it was so silly because my payments every month were like $750. Okay, mortgage, HOA was $750. I could have rented that out for $1,200, $1,400 and make that $600 every month in perpetuity. You know what I mean? Even now, but instead I sold it. I don't know what I was thinking, but hey, big lesson. So y'all don't have to make the same mistake, right?
So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, because all of us have these little anecdotes where you know for a fact, and like pride always says what? If I had to do all over, I would do it all over the same way. Hell no, you wouldn't. If you're only having the conversation with yourself, Wes, bruh, how many examples of you, I know how old you are. I'm just throwing you, I ain't putting you into the silver. You're not in the silver bucket yet, but you got enough tread on that tire to remember, right? You put enough on. How many of those instances, if you had to do it all over again, how many times would you not do it the same way you did it?
Every single time. Are you talking, you want an actual number? Every single time. No joke. I don't know what that number is, but every single time, no joke.
It's a many, it's a plenty, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, where are we going with this, right? I said, I'm gonna give you $1 billion worth of game for $9.99, like $9.99, $9.99. Let me know when you're ready.
yeah, I'm
Yes?
ready. What's going on? Come on, let's do it.
Come on.
All right. The host is disabled participation. What else you want to know? Come on, host.
You're the host now.
There you go.
There you
What do
go.
you guys see on your screen? Anything?
You got the juice now.
Yeah.
You got the money bag.
Money
Billion
back.
dollars.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
You see
3/8
something,
mortgage
right?
qualifying income.
So we're about to talk about an instance of which, what did I say? Hidden in plain sight. I want y'all to know somebody should be recording this. From this point forward, first off, everything that we talked about, it's going to hit some of you like a ton of bricks at about 3:30 in the morning. You're going to wake up in a cold sweat like, damn. Some of you are still like in la la land. Others are going to get this one point. You decide which moment is which. You ready? MQI, write that down. MQI. MQI should be the most important acronym in your life. I did mention that the world's largest economy is based on real estate. Do you want to know how to hack it that will provide you with the legacy runway that you can take down as much real estate as you decide that you want to take down? The amount of real estate that you take down is only consummate with your ability to wake up and get to work. Now, if you want to be on these multiple retreats. And if you have a trust and you're in foundations, you understand exactly, where we are. And you know what? I think this is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity. I'm going to tell you guys right now, seriously, I'm going to give everybody 3 minutes to reach out to at least 3 people and tell their Black asses that they need to jump on this call right now. For real.
That's
I'm
crazy.
gonna give you that time.
Let's do this.
I'm gonna give you that time because I guarantee whatever I'm about to share with you is got so much magnitude for the success of it. If you care about them, blindly tell them to get here. Don't ask no questions. Just get on this call. We ain't got nothing to sell to them. I'm giving them, again, $1 billion worth of game for $9.99. I'm going to get something to drink. I'll be right back. 3 minutes. You guys ready?
Hold on, give me a moment. She about to pop on. Hold on.
We're still texting people, okay?
That's fine. We're going to start in 90 seconds. How about that? While we're on commercial break, did anybody go see the amazing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
My daughter saw it. She said it was not as good as the first one.
Incredible. Incredible.
I live in such a different world. I don't see things like that.
It looks like do you have a lake behind your house?
No, that's all green.
Oh, wow.
I'm in Costa Rica.
Oof. Costa Rica.
If anybody wants to fly here in the next couple of days, the Yawanawa tribe are going to be serving ayahuasca from the Brazilian Amazon. That's the true wealth.
Wow.
Is the Earth Keepers.
Can you, Monique, can you hit me with a little email so I can hit you on the sidebar, because we're working on a migration from Belmont Shores in Southern California to Costa Rica. That's in 2024, we'll be there in the summer. So we're kind of working through some of that. And I would love to have a consultant that can kind of help us make that transition 100%.
Monique's perfect.
I got you. Yeah, I do. And also, if anybody's interested in doing like deep plant medicine healing work, I'm closely connected. In just the last 6 months, I've worked with a master from Colombia, the Hikuri, who are from the central desert region of Mexico, serving like the original wisdom keepers of the peyote. and then the Owanawa tribe, the Shipibo. We have an elder who comes from Peru pretty regularly. So, yeah.
Thank you. The answer is yes. Let me make sure I copied that. Pop you into this thing here. So those of you who are joining us, Lorna, hello. Jungle Love Linus. I love it. Okay. We got some powerhouses on this. Okay. That's so awesome. Okay, Monique. You okay, so first off, let me welcome those who had the energy to actually to join us. I'm about to share something with you that if you really understand the magnitude without being persuaded by all of the details of which that I shared prior, we're gonna kind of get right into something. And Lorna, if you need to sidebar any of the individuals that's on this call, like whoever brought you on to kind of, so they can bring you up to speed, I'll leave it up to you to get with them to kind of figure out how the hell we got to this moment. Okay. Right.
Got it.
All right. So here's what's going on. We're about to talk about something known as MQL. And as a precursor, MQL is mortgage qualified income. By show of hands, who remembers 2008? Right. What happened in 2008?
The big collapse, recession.
Mortgage-backed securities.
Yeah, mortgage-backed securities, derivatives. Yep. Right. Hey, Napoleon. What else happened? What happened to our economy according to all of the accounts and the reports? There were people that were actually jumping out of windows. Number one, that was crazy, right? So be careful what you listen to. Do you know the people that jumped out of windows? The majority of the people that committed suicide, they own no real estate. They got caught up in the hoopla. The media machine influenced them, persuaded them, and they took that persuasion as influence, and they literally killed themselves. And I'm not laughing. I just mean like the ludicrous nature of the power of media. So be careful what you listen to, right? So we're going to talk about MQL because in 2008, that was this thing. There was this engineering that happened. It started in 1997. Did you know that in the banking industry, and we already talked about banking and insurance, right? So the Fed and the banks, they operate in this cabal. By definition, somebody tell me what is a cabal?
I just want to say it's something spiritual when you say the cabal, like Kabbalah.
So a cabal is really an insiders group, right? They have a shared interest in doing something. A cabal could be great, or they can have nefarious intent, but a cabal is a cabal, right? It's not good or bad, it just is. So a cabal in this scenario is the Fed, right? And the Fed, anytime you hear the Fed, you also should hear what? Central banks. Okay, taking notes, right? Fed and central banks, they're really the central banks are the arm of the Fed. Everybody knows the Fed is not a federal entity, right? We all know that part. There's enough. The great thing about social media, at least there's been enough sort of outward communication that kind of is exposing some of the soft underbelly of which is the pinning over this thing known as the United States, right? So central banks, and there's how many Fed governors are there? Central banks, they each have a governor, right? There's 12 of them. They're all around. And in these particular regions, they're the ones that kind of make a decision. Not really. They have to vote in concert, but there's one little body of 3 people that actually run the Fed. The one guy that you see that shows up on TV all the time, that guy, he's just the front person. He's important, but he's being influenced by 2 other individuals. There's really only 3 people that actually run it, but they're being persuaded publicly. The Fed presidents will come on TV. And if anybody's ever watching CNBC or Bloomberg or the dreaded Fox Business, right? How many of you guys watch CNBC? Stop playing. Really? Come on, y'all. Let me tell you why you have to watch CNBC and why you have to watch Bloomberg. It's not because you're drinking the Kool-Aid. It's because you want to know what the enemy is doing.
All the money.
Right. Right. Stop playing. Right? Like, the crazy part is they'll share with you in code exactly what they're going to be doing 6 months to 12 months from now. This is what they do. And they're counting on us. Okay, if you got black in you, you know, there's a saying, and my granddaddy taught me this. He said, boy, if you ever want to hide something, put it in a book. I was like, what? It took me a while to get that. Why? Because people don't read. There was a metaphor for they continuously put things in your preview, but for whatever the reason, we're turned on to not looking at it from the perspective of which that those are actually presenting coded language to you on a daily basis. And you guys just confirm this thing. They have somehow persuaded you not to watch Financial News Network. What? Let me say, it's not my intention. I hope nobody takes this as a negative, right? I'm just giving it to you as it's coming. You guys are revealing things to me because I will tell you that in my world, so I used to, I do this thing. It's called, it's a trust directorate. So in order to be in my camp, I charge $50,000 for you to hang out with me and we have this dialogue. But the people that are in this Discord, they look nothing like you. They look nothing like you. They're not you. They don't have your experience. They know nothing of what you know. And conversely, you know nothing of which they know. So I dropped the price of $10,000 thinking that was going to actually like open up the floodgates. You know what it did? You guys are making me go back to my $50,000, $165,000 engagement. You know why? Because those who are not used to having this dialogue on a regular basis, understanding the fact that they're giving you all the information that you need to succeed for free, but they've convinced you not to even pay attention to it. That's the travesty. Y'all are challenging me. We were talking about MQL, mortgage qualified income. And we were talking about 2008. And I mentioned 97. And in 97, the banking industry decided that they were going to change the way that all of the top banks using something called the central bank set the actual rate of how much it costs for a bank to buy money. So here's how it works. The Federal Reserve puts a number out, right? The central banks say in these different regions, okay, that's the number. And then all of the banks, all the big commercial banks, they then buy money from the central banks. The central banks are taking the instruction from the actual Fed. Anybody know what LIBOR is? What is LIBOR?
You told us that. Yeah, you gave us that a few weeks ago. I know you did.
What is LIBOR?
Might have it here. It's an acronym.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I literally grew up in Richmond, California. I have a picture with me sitting on Angela Davis's lap from the 60s, a black and white picture my mom got. Okay. And I remember, you know, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, but I was working at the White House in 1981, 4 years. And and there's a plenty more to my story, which we won't get into today, but I'm going to share with you this. The same thing that the Black Panthers are representing because of what we had to endure in the late 1800s and because of chain gangs and because of Jim Crow, all the way through, right, the 40s and the 50s. And then there was an awakening in the 60s, and you had the Black Panther that came through in the 60s. And then you had that guy, the president, who took the US off the gold standard, thus then hijacking the world economy. You know, the US dollar is the dominant currency on the planet. And, you know, China is like pissed off about it, but they can't do nothing about it because we literally own. The US is embedded in all. There's 2 degrees of separation between the US and all, I repeat, all real estate on the planet. Did you know that the yuan, which is the Chinese dollar, is pegged to the US dollar? Did you know that the Brazilian real is pegged? Did you know that the euro is pegged? Everything's pegged to us. This is, I'm sharing with you, why is the US so powerful? Because everybody's basing their money on our money. But yet you live here and they're telling you what's happening with the money, and they're putting it on these at least 3 shows every day. And then there's a bunch that's on YouTube. You know, you can get all these financial news networks on YouTube for free. But I asked you if you guys are watching it, no one raised their hand. It shares with you, I'm sharing with you that there's a reason why certain people know certain things and others don't. Did you know that when you add up all of the variants of, you know, the cultures that make up the United States, what do we say? We're the world's melting pot, right? Yes, we are. Look at this call. How many of you have more than just that? There is an amalgamation of cultures in everybody that's sitting on the Zoom right now. We literally are the microcosm of the United States. Hey, Harrison, my brother, riddle me this. What type of heritage and culture do you have in you right now? What makes up you culturally over the last many millennia? What's your ancestry?
Me?
Yes.
Jewish.
And what else?
I don't have anything else inside of me. Polish, a little bit of Polish, a little bit of Jewish, some Russian, I guess. Obviously American, and you know, all the intellectual stuff of rabbinical school from my father, and you know, my brother being a businessman and me being a business person and enlightened entrepreneur.
Excellent. Harrison, thank you for jumping in. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't know that we were going to put you on the hot seat as soon as you walked in. Thank you so much for okay. Sure. Joy, what's your cultural heritage?
Joy Grace.
Hello. Grace.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go.
Oh,
Give us
okay, sorry.
a rundown.
Well, my mom's side is Polish Jewish, and my dad's side is Italian, French, English, Scottish, German, and Native American.
Okay. James, telehealth today. Give us your cultural heritage.
German and Ukraine. Yeah.
Awesome. Kermit, give us your cultural heritage.
With me, it's easy to say what I don't have in me. I'm from South Louisiana, so I got French, English, Irish, German, half of the African countries, Filipino, Indian, you know, what, you know, so that's why I say it's, basically I say Creole and Filipinos when people ask me, so yeah.
Miro, what do you have inside of you? What's your cultural heritage?
Let's go. It's the whole rainbow. So born in Germany. My mom has Gypsy heritage, which is like this nomadic wandering tribe. French, Ghanaian, Ethiopian, American, and many apparently Egyptian, ancient Egyptian as well, because I felt home when I went, and many more yet to be discovered.
My friend Brittany, where you at? Give it to us.
Italian, Austrian, Czechoslovakian, Scottish, Native American, and African.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there. Everybody's proving, right? We all have something in us. There is no true blue blood, 100% blue blood on this call. Let me enlighten you to something. If you were 100% true blue blood, you would have a family crest, and I guarantee you're so proud of it. It would probably be like somewhere, you know, you saw how I got in the backdrop, 3hw.io. You probably be repping it because your family crest would mean that you have a direct line to like Mesopotamia and the Sumerians.
Well, you'd
Right.
probably be inbred too.
That's for sure.
For
Okay.
sure.
That's for sure. Okay, let me give y'all a little sidebar. I want you to see my hand. You see this? See this thing? Looks crazy, right? So it's called Duplin's contracture. I can tie my heritage back to the Vikings, which are like legit blue bloods. You know how I can tell? There's about 2 million people on the planet that have this thing. 2 million. That's it. But they are running commercials. Let me tell you how important it is to be a blue blood. They literally have come up with procedures, multiple procedures to fix this. There's actually commercials for this. There's only 2 million of us on the planet. There's 8 billion people. And when you have this mark, who talked about inbred? You know why I have this? It's because, right, cousins was on cousins, right? And the unfortunate thing is I have this. There's 2 million other people, mainly men, that have this thing. It's the mark. So I go down this pathway. I ask you these questions because knowing where your true heritage is important. But let me tell you why this is so important. We were talking about mortgage qualified income. We're talking about having super ultra rich uncles and aunts that when you were in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade, they were sitting down with you, sharing with you what true wealth and the way that it's created. They would have shared with you that this non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust, you would have known that. I wouldn't have to break it down for you because you would have learned this in the 3rd grade. I'm gonna give it to you again for those who are new. Non-grantor means that the person who's taking the asset, real estate, cash, in the modern world, crypto, altcoins, right? 401ks, whatever, you would have never tied any of those assets to your personal name. Why? Because if you tie it to you, your social security number is putting you in the preview of draconian taxation, fees, misrepresentation, and mismanagement of your money. These are the reasons why it's so difficult for you to cross the chasm between being somebody who has to have multiple hustles and people who are actually living in the realm where your trust, the difference between you and people who are fiduciaries at the federal level, that means you're a trustee at the complex, irrevocable, non-grantor level. You see, we have our own tax form. What's your tax form? Somebody tell me, those who was paying taxes, because we know all people don't pay taxes, okay? What's the tax form that you file with if you file your taxes on an annual basis? Don't be afraid. Share with me, unmute yourself and tell me the tax form that you file. Go ahead.
W-2.
1040 Schedule C.
1040 Schedule C.
Schedule C.
What does Schedule C mean?
Business income and losses, your form for your business.
Shelly, do you file a Schedule C, my dear?
You know,
or do you file a 1040 EZ? Is it which one you file?
I used to do the 1040 EZ. Now, honestly, I don't remember because I just got an accountant or a CPA, and he did all that for me, and I didn't even bother to look to see what he filed. But I should check on that.
Okay.
I don't think it's the 1040 easy anymore because I've got
Oh, good.
investments and property and things like that
Right.
now.
So most people feel when you cross that barrier of going from easy to Schedule C that you've done something. You know what it means? That you've amassed enough revenue. Why they call it Internal Revenue Service. They put a Schedule C in front of you. Why? Because they don't trust you.
Mind blown.
What if I told you that if you had the non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust, I mentioned that we have our own tax form. It's a 1041. And at the top of that form on the left side, 4 boxes down, is the complex election. And guess what it says? Check that box, no Schedule C. You know why? Because my title is fiduciary. What does it mean in layman terms? I'm a trustee. What's the difference? I can spend $1 billion. If I had $1 trillion, I can spend it. And I never have to itemize a dollar that I spend. You know why? Because they trust me. Imagine spending $1 billion. Now let's go big here. Do you know $1 billion is 1,000 million? Imagine having $1,000 million. Come on now. We're all Oprah Winfrey. She ain't got 1,000, she got $3,000 million. And imagine being Oprah Winfrey. You know why she's so rich? Because sometime in the 90s, somebody put her on game. They gave her $1 billion worth of game for $9.99. I'm bringing it to you. Oprah used to sleep in her car. Remember we talked about the 5 levels of leadership a few weeks back? And I was sharing with you. You know what the difference was? Somebody pulled her to the side and shared with her non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust. When you have them, when you put your assets in them and you run your businesses through them, you don't have to share with the federal government what you spend your money on. Oh, I forgot to tell you this other thing. When you do, you can write it off 100%. How about spending your mortgage money? How many of you got houses? 4 of us, 5 of us, you count me. When I spend money on mortgages, I get to write off principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Hello.
I have us both on aisle seats.
So guess what? Rama, what did we say that happens every 3 to 7 years? Give it to me. Huh?
No.
They want you to reset, right? You know why they want you to reset? So you reset the interest. When those who bought property, let me tell you what happens. When you get into it, day one is the maximum amount of interest you will ever pay on that piece of real estate. And then every quarter, it goes down a smidge. By the time you get into 7 years, it's typically on these mortgages when you kind of get into this 50-50 realm, where the interest amount and the principal amount starts to balance out depending on the interest rate. So what if it didn't matter? Because people will reset their mortgage. Why, Rama? Because if you get to write off only the interest, if you're regularly only able to write off the actual interest that's coming associated with that particular mortgage, and you can only get the tax advantage on the interest only, do they not engineer it that it's in your favor to write off the interest? What do you want to do in 7 years? You want to reset it. Come on, y'all. You're not getting this. They have engineered it to the advantage of them, but because they give you a little bit of a 3 to 5 year sort of break where they'll give you a little bit more money in your brain, you're like, every 7 years, I got to reset. 3 to 7 years, depending on the interest rate. Again, I'm giving you $1 billion worth of game for $9.99. How many of y'all had to pay to get on this call right now? We got 20 people on this call. We had 9 people about 20 minutes ago. We got 20 now.
You better start walking.
I hope you're getting this. So if the game is set to ensure that you have to write on a piece of paper, itemize everything that you spend, and then they get to scrutinize it, what's the number one reason people get audited? Come on.
Too many itemizations.
Right. Or itemizations that seem that's out of this nebulous. They don't tell you exactly what's going to trigger an audit. They keep you what? They call it fear of the unknown.
Yep.
So if they keep you guessing, aren't you always going to err unless you're that edgy person? There's some people that's just like, forget it. I'm just going to go all the way in, right? But the majority of the people want to stay under. If this is the audit line, the majority of us want to be right around here. There's some people that kind of live here for years and eventually they're going to get hit.
Yeah.
What's going on, guy?
Over 800. Yours is over 800.
So here's the thing. What if, this line, this is the line of audit. What if we do it like this? Poof, it's gone.
And you get your bad check free.
Why is this so important? Because if you're never going to get audited, what does that do to your ability to actually go all in and start to create these business opportunities, whether it be for real estate or be through crypto, whether it be from buying business or leveraging business or whatever it is, you can go all in. Why? Because they're not going to audit you. The audit tool, I'm giving you again, $1 billion worth of game for $9.99. The way you get audited is to have a Schedule C or a Schedule E. When you have a non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust, and you check the box on that 1041 form, there is no Schedule C or Schedule E. You'd want to do it just for that. You could remove the fear of you ever being hit with an audit if, in fact, you never have to itemize what you spend money on. That's the only reason that they're going to hit you. There's no other reason that they're going to audit you. What do they have to audit you for? What if I told you that on line 15A on that particular form, if you wrote $1 billion on that form and you said you spent $500 million and you have $500 million left over and you decided to distribute or donate that $500 million from your business trust to your family trust, and they're going to go, smart move.
But why is it that way?
Yeah, I had the same question. Is this just like a tax code the IRS doesn't have jurisdiction over?
Because the people with the gold make the rules.
Say it again. Say it
Whoever
again.
owns gold makes the rules. There you go.
Listen, Linda, remember that? Linda, remember that meme? That little kid was talking to his mom, her name was Linda. Linda. Here's the deal. They're counting on you. See, I'm only one man. I'm one man. They're counting on you never stepping into the realm of which that I'm advocating for you. They believe that the marketing message that they have served you over your lifetime is so strong. They persuaded you and persuaded you to whereas you're going to live in fear and not do this.
Is there any risk?
Sure, there's risk. Let me explain y'all something. I know for a fact that if you have the right entity set up in the right way, according to the IRS code, And as long as you have an entity that doesn't require you to file a Schedule C or Schedule E, there is no risk, because the only thing that they can actually audit you on is a Schedule C or Schedule E. That's the itemization of the money that you spend. What else would they actually look at you at? How can they, what do they know? Shelly, what city are you in, my dear?
I'm in Sacramento.
Oh, you in Sac where? Where?
In Rancho Cordova.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I just drove down from Rancho Cordova. Yes, I mean, what's today? Yeah, last night or this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these. No, last night. Yeah. Yeah, we got to connect because I'm up there all the time. Like I fam up there. All right. So here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to take? There's only about 200 million people that are supposed to file taxes. And there's only about 140 million people that actually do file taxes. Okay. So half the populace don't even file. I'm just going to tell you that. But of those that do, the only way that they can peg you is on what? Looking at the things you tell them that you're doing. How else are they going to know? They're not. So when you tell them you spent $150,000 and you said that, oh yeah, I spent $50,000 on business expenses, which was this house that I have, and I had to apportion a portion of my house, and then the measurement is, you're just giving them more information to actually question you on. This is the perfect scenario of less is more. And here's how you legally less is more. One more time. Non-grantor. Irrevocable. What does irrevocable mean? It cannot be changed. What does complex mean? Complex, I know Rama's like, come on, bro, get to the point. Rama, my dear, complex is like, how many of you are Marvel fans? And I was mentioning that we went to go see the Spider-Verse, great movie. If you haven't seen the first one, see the first one, then go see the second one. Incredible. So I have a little baby boy. His name is Justice J. Lawrence, right? My namesake. Justice is 7 years old. He grew up in the Marvel arena. So we go and dress up in cosplay and all this other kind of stuff and go see these movies, right? So we got our Spider-Man shirts, so we go to see this movie. As it turns out that Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, he's Puerto Rican and Black. In case y'all ain't seen, I'm Black. My son Justice's mom is Puerto Rican. Okay. As it turns out, she's super short and I'm pretty tall. The Puerto Rican mom speaks Spanish. So does my son's mom. And I speak English. Yes. Right. And as it turns out, the dad's name is Jeff. My government name is Jeff. I have a junior, his name is Jeffrey. So I go by J, that's Jeffrey. So as it turns out, the Miles Morales character is a Puerto Rican and Black character. His mom is Puerto Rican, his dad is Black, his dad's name is Jeff, and that's my name. This is the reason why we know that Marvel has got something going. They be looking at your boy's life here, right? So it's nuts. So anyhow, why do I mention that? Because in this thing known as the Marvel Universe, what they've decided to do, and here's the corollary, what they decided to do was tell stories about the truth, but they put it in these animated sort of spaces. They actually had this movie, it was called The Eternals. And you know what The Eternals was about? Did anybody see that movie? Nobody? Hid it in plain sight. It was about Mesopotamia. Right. It was, the whole movie was about the Anunnaki and Inky. If you don't know about the Anunnaki and this, that, and the other, and Nibiru, it's like a thing. Disney did a movie on this thing, and they called it The Eternals, and people were like, I didn't get it. You know why? Historical context. I'm gonna leave it there. Let's go back to the second portion. The first portion was non-grantor. The second portion was irrevocable. The third portion was complex, and I was mentioning Disney because they have this character in Disney. His name is Loki. Loki doesn't lie to you. He just doesn't tell you the whole truth. That's the IRS. How would the IRS have an entity known as a complex? Complex means what? Difficult. Complex means convoluted. Complex means I don't want to touch it. But yet a complex trust has no Schedule C or no Schedule E. How can you have an entity that's tied to the IRS that you can spend $1 and you don't have to show them what you spent it on? Is that complex or is that simple?
That's perfect.
Simple.
I got a question.
Right.
I got to ask you this.
Listen, I want y'all to go with me on this thing. See, somebody dropped off. We had 20 people, 19 left. They had better have had a heart attack and to leave this conversation right now. Let me explain y'all something. If you don't understand the vernacular, I broke it down. What did I say? Non-grantor is somebody who takes assets that they currently own, you put it in a trust. As soon as you do that, you have no control over it at all, and you're just waiting for something to happen. And for most of us, we were taught, own everything, control nothing. The wealthiest people on the planet, what do? They own nothing and they control everything. I gave you an example of real estate being the world's largest industry in the world's largest economy, and two entities control it, banking and insurance. I share with you then irrevocable. What does it mean? It means it can't be changed. What is the number one characteristic of the U.S. Constitution? What makes it such that of the things that I'm sharing with you today, why are 35% of all of these, we call them trust directorates, owned by individuals outside the United States? They're not even citizens in here, but yet they're leveraging the U.S. tax code. 35%. There's trillions of dollars in this thing that I'm sharing with you. You know why? Because in the U.S. Constitution is something known as contract, the right of contract. It's in the freaking Bill of Rights. Read it. You know what it says? That a contract, when entered by two parties, that once that document is notarized, why do you think we put so much emphasis on a notary? By show of hands, you got any notaries here? How many of you have actually had a document notarized before? Right. Don't they make you show ID and jump through hoops and make sure blah, blah? This is a thing. And you're like, why are they going through all this? I'm just signing a document to say this, that, and the other. You know why? U.S. Constitution. Here's the deal. If you have to notarize a document, it means that that document is tied to the right of contract, which is one of the tenets of the Constitution. Because this is an international document, wherever you are on the planet, if you're doing business in the United States and you notarize a document, i.e. a contract, that thing is binding at the Supreme Court level. Didn't I mention those 9 justices? I mentioned that they're the ones that actually, I started this whole conversation. They're the ones that keep the whole truth associated with the U.S. There's only one truth, what's in the contract. There's only one truth. If it's not in a contract, it doesn't exist. If you don't have it in writing, notarized, stamped, dated, guess what happens? Anybody can sue your ass and you're going to lose. It's open. It's a 50-50 thing based on storytelling, based on who's got the better attorney. But if you got a contract and that thing is notarized, the Supreme Court, you can take that thing and walk it all the way up to the Supreme Court. If it's in your favor, the Supreme Court is going to say, no, it's clear. It's in, why do they have the term? It's in black and white. That's what that comes from. It's hidden in plain sight. They make it so simple for you. So now we're at what? We talked about non-grantor. We talked about irrevocable. We talked about complex. I mentioned that complex is the opposite of complex. It's really low-key. That's the IRS. It's really simple. Why? You don't have a Schedule C or Schedule E. So if you can have a document that says any assets that you put inside of it, you no longer control it because it says it in the document, and it can't be changed because it's irrevocable, and you don't have to itemize any money that you spend. Why? Because it's complex, and you got a doggone tax form that says 1041, not 1040, 1041 complex. You tell the government without any itemization that you spent money. And they say, well, what are you going to do with it? You got 3 roles. When you're a trustee, you're going to do number 1, distribute. Number 2, donate. Number 3, pay taxes. By show of hands, no, by unmute yourself and you tell me with your own words, which of the 2 of the 3 are you going to do? Are you going to distribute, donate, or pay taxes on that money? Go.
Distribute.
Donate.
I mean,
nobody say pay taxes. Thank you. You're all smart. Okay. So we've got through the title of the entity.
I prefer to pay taxes. Just joking.
Oh, come on, guy.
I'm playing.
He's that guy. All right. Here's a moment of truth. I was going to share with you guys the MQI. Did I persuade you? Do you understand the reason why you need to have a non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust? Because it's going to empower you to do this thing. What did I say the world's largest economy was? Who was it? World's largest economy?
Real estate.
No. World's largest economy is who?
Banks and insurance.
World's largest industry is what?
Banking, insurance.
Real estate. Come on.
Oh, real estate.
She's telling, huh?
Which is banking by your own words.
Insurance and banking is the same. Real estate is industry. Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. As it turns out, I don't know. Let's try this one. That looks crazy, right?
That's
It is so crazy when you have like 14 screens operating at the same time. I have to find you guys.
Bernie and I were just talking about that. We always have to close 1,005 tabs.
I just keep my open. I have an M2.
I'm gonna practice this 1 tab rule. It's like a single point of focus, but that's enough.
I literally am trying to find a particular screen that's going to allow me to share. It just doesn't. I don't know where it is. Hey, Miro, let me in. I know what I have to do. Go out and come back in. Let me in when I come in. All right.
Of course.
All right.
Does anyone else have the feeling we're about to get our minds blown all over again?
Yes.
I looked at that strategy and I know about half of it.
That's
which
impressive.
is funnel things through the LLC management company, but then everything else after that, I'm like, what's going on here?
I'm like, yeah. I was like, got that golden big road.
Jay's got the gems of the billionaires, you know, stuff that billionaires know.
Not the billionaires. He's got the elites. The info of the elites. There is a difference between billionaires and the elites.
Yeah.
So
So
They got the
Will,
zodiacs.
give
3%
me sharing access.
One will have you killed.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up by sharing with you MQI, which is mortgage qualified income. And if you were here earlier, I was mentioning the fact that there's this sort of enterprise. Let me blow this up and let me come over here and let me do something here and make it easier for everybody to see. And so, what do you see on your screen?
MGI.
Qualifying income.
qualifying income.
So we're going to walk through this pathway of actually buying a piece of real estate. Those who've done this before, yes, you know, you can validate this. And those who've not done it, we're going to take you down this little odyssey, okay? So we're talking about the majority of the pieces of real estate. Most people who have $100,000 or less of income, which really represents like 95% of America, you have to, or you can choose to go through FHA, right? FHA is a government-backed enterprise that will guarantee mortgages. It basically bolsters what I said about the real estate being the world's largest, being the industry in the world's largest economy. It's real estate. And this will validate that the US government is behind it 100% because they have an entity that will guarantee the loan to the banks. It basically says, hey, banks, if you give this person a loan, we're going to make sure that if they default, we're going to pay it off for you. That's what FHA is. Everybody understand? By yes and yes, say yes.
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 Yeah.
The standard borrowing
Yep.
again, is typically a 680 FICO, a 5% down. If you're a first-time home buyer, it's 3 to 3.5%. If you're military, is 3. If you're non-military, it's 3.5. Okay. You can have a one-time letter that says some family member is going to give you access to the down payment, but there can still be tax implications. Okay. So let's go through the standard documentation required for a piece of real estate. What do you have to have? The routine documents is you got to have ID. You got to have at least 2 years of tax returns. You got to have a W-2 or a K-1 or a 1099. You got to have at least 2 months worth of bank statements, and you got to have at least a job where you can show a pay stub. Okay. So if that's the standard, what if I'm a business owner? So business owners have to have business and property, right? So you have to have 2 years of business tax returns for anyone who is 25% or more owner of the business, right? So do you have current mortgages or property taxes or homeowners insurance or HOA, right? Which is HOA is the homeowners association, right? For any real estate that's actually owned by the business, and that's current. Because why? Did you guys know that the majority of the real estate that's actually held, particularly the commercial real estate, is actually held? Commercial real estate is anything that's more than one unit, one doorknob, right? It's actually held by businesses, right? All those LLCs, C Corps, S Corps, title holding companies, private foundations, trusts, and the like. So what happens if you're somebody who's retired or disabled? We have some people that are on fixed income, like it is slip and fall, ex-military, whatever it is. Well, what do you have to show? If you still have to have all of those entities, right? Like the ID and the tax returns, but you also have to show pension or retirement income, social security letters, veterans administration information, or any income you're getting from child support or alimony. That's what you have to show. It's a ton of information. But what if we told you that if you're a trustee or a trust fund baby? So I'm so proud to say that all my kids are trust fund babies, right? Coming from where the neighborhood I grew up in, it's a thing. And so trust fund babies and trustees, we have something known as a housing allowance trust derived qualified income. What does that mean? That means that first and foremost, you have to have a trust in place. And the number one trust that passes muster, meaning I was in the military, muster means like the thing that when you pull it all together, that's going to actually check the box of yes, it is a non-grantor, irrevocable complex trust. It's not a state trust. It's that specific trust that I talked about, which really only represents about 3% of all the trusts that are created. It's the crazy part. The thing that has the most power is the actual trust entity that's the least used. Again, hidden in plain sight. So either you can have a trust document and you can show a bank statement, right? And that literally will get you the money that you need. So let me explain what happens. When you're a trustee, any money you have in a trust, any assets you have in a trust, the totality of those assets can be used to leverage to buy real estate, right? But you can also do this. You can have a trust agreement, but then you can have sufficient assets to support the qualified income. That means a letter from the trustee or a bank statement. So what if I told you that the letter, which is called a housing allowance statement, and it says here, the affirmation trust is authorized to provide housing allowance for a trustee, that'd be you, in the amount not to fall below. Let's assume that you have a $500,000 piece of real estate and you're going to put down, you have enough for 10%. So that's $50,000, but you only need to put down 3% if you're VA, 3.5%, or 5% if you've done this multiple times. So what's 5% of $500,000? Somebody quick, tell me, what is that number? 5% of 500,000.
2,500, I think.
$25,000. So $25,000 is the amount that you would have to put down for a $500,000 house or building, right? And we're focusing on duplex, triplex, quads, 6 units, 12 units, whatever it is, right? Whatever the FHA is going to loan for, and I will tell you that unless there's a special circumstance, the FHA is only going to loan for up to 4 units, between 1 and 4 units. Well, this is the sweet spot because they're going to give you money. If you want to have a one house in certain situations, like in Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York or Miami, where, real estate can be pricey, they're going to give you up to, I believe, I'm going to say $800,000 in loan guarantee. Maybe it's 850 or 875, right? But if you decide that you want to buy a 4 unit, they're going to pretty much give you times 4 of that. They may give you up to something like 1.8 or $2 million worth of loan guarantees for you to buy a 4 unit. That's $500,000 per doorknob. That's a pretty nice place, right? But they will give you that amount of money, depends on the situation. And why am I sure? Because can you guys see this on your screen? Can you see this? See this letter? This is the template.
Yep.
What it says? To whom it may concern, I'm writing you on behalf of the trust, blah, blah, for this particular property, blah, blah. The trust has been in existence for a number of whatever the years are. The down payment is in this amount. We have that in cash reserves. That this is the 3.5% down FHA loan. We understand that. The mortgage loan is going to be, the trust currently owns whatever number of rental properties. It could be 0 or it could be 57. It doesn't matter. The mortgage loan payment is less than 28% of the trust monthly rental income. That means that as long as the payment is less than 28% of the total amount of money that the trust could come up with, you pass muster. I have attached the following documents. It's a letter that says the trust most recent financial statement. It's from your QuickBooks that says that the actual financial statement is X amount that you have, which matches what you have in the bank. A list of trust rental properties. It could be 0, like I said, or it could be 9,000 pieces of real estate. It doesn't matter. The proof of the trust cash reserves you can have as long as you have the amount. And what does it say up here? That in the amount not to fall below X per month. Let's assume that we said it's $25,000 to buy a $500,000 home, right? And that's at 5%. And you need to have at least 3 months worth. So a $500,000 home less $25,000, right? So that will be $475,000. And how much is the mortgage going to be at that? Let's just say it's $3,500. You would have 3 months worth of money in that account. That would be $9,000 plus $25,000. By my math, that's $34,000 of money to take down a property that's $500,000. I want to share with you guys why this is so monumental. Okay, seriously. I go back to the earlier statement. I asked you if you remember 2008, and everybody said, yeah. Well, what happened in 97? There was a rule that was placed that said if you wanted to get a mortgage, you can have a no doc mortgage. What does no doc mean? No qualified income. You tell us it's a stated loan. You tell us how much you make. You tell us how much money you have in the bank. You tell us that. That's why I was living in Atlanta from 99 to 2006. There was so much real estate that was running through Atlanta. Why? Because people, exactly, Miro, $34,000 for a $500,000 loan. Now, if you can't come up with $34,000, you don't need to buy a piece of real estate. That is a thimbleful of the value of which that you could turn from that piece of property. My point is this: in 97, they changed the rule. They said that anybody can have that luxury of stating how much income and how much revenue they're going to continue to create for the next 3+ years. You get it? In 2008, because people went buck wild, they could not. You had people that were making up numbers where they were buying 5, 6, 10 properties, stated loans. They had all this real estate. They were into the, I can get a loan. They weren't into the business of running real estate operations. How do you know? They had a bunch of pieces of real estate. They had got a bunch of property. They refied that property, took a bunch of cash out, and they went and bought what? At the time in 2006, what was the most famous big boy car back in the day? Somebody.
Was it a Hummer?
An Escalade or something? Or a big body Benz?
Was it a Hummer? Oh, no.
It was probably a Hummer too. And remember back in the day, people used to have something called spinner rims. I never could get that thing.
It's called Daisies.
Well,
okay. Let me explain y'all something, right? We from the culture. Kermit, we already said, you know, Guy, we didn't get to you yet, but we know you got some in the YouTube. It's all good, right? Britt already came up. Empress already said something. James even was like, yeah, I got some of this, that, and the other. If you have African culture in you, you know the thing that we really love more than anything else? We can't help it. We love shiny things. We love shiny things. You see it right here. These are 3 carats. Damn near flawless diamonds. I rock these things.
My nails. I love glitter.
It's a thing. It's a thing. I embrace it. Here's the reason why. People were spending real money on rims that were chrome that spun on a car that was a depreciating asset that was made of half plastic that in 5 years will be less than 20% of the value of which that they paid for it. Can you tell? They put in the realm the possibility that people will buy shiny things. They weren't appreciating assets. At least my diamonds will be worth more 5 years from now than they are when I first bought them 3 years ago. Now, I'm not validating. I'm just saying, if you're not buying it and it's appreciating asset, you're losing. They let an entire country say, these guys are smart. They figured it out. Women too figured out that you can say how much you're going to be making. You didn't actually have to be making it. The banking industry knew that they were going to unleash this thing. They needed to bolster the economy. What happened in 2001? September 11th, what happened?
11, yeah.
9/11.
See, that was an unplanned, what did that do to the economy? That sunk us into a immediate depression. It wasn't a recession. It was an immediate depression. Why? Fear set in. Nobody moved. Nothing happened. No planes are flying. No commerce happened. For literally 2 months, the entire world shut down. And because of that, they were like, we need to jumpstart this thing. What did they do? They changed the rule. They say, hey, look, we have this obscure rule. Let's promote it now. Every single, remember Countrywide? Y'all remember that Countrywide was a home mortgage company. They were running commercials. You literally, if you was a daytime TV person, I knew my aunties and them was watching the stories. Y'all know I'm Black. They was watching the stories, and Countrywide was running commercials during General Hospital, Young and Restless. Why? They're pumping the information in. So guess what? Hey, baby, you know, you can get you a mortgage and buy that house across the street. That's exactly what happened. Well, what happened in 2008? The entire system, the market had created these derivatives. They started to take those loans. It was a mix of concoction of badness. And what happened is they said, we're going to reduce those terms. We're not going to give you the opportunity to actually just say how much you made. You have to prove it to us. These folks hadn't filed taxes since 2002. Here it is, 2008. The whole system came crashing down, except it never changed for trustees. The reason why I have a nice real estate portfolio is because when I was in that space, I was in Atlanta at that time. In 2009, I started converting all my holdings where people were selling their property. I was transferring my property into my trusts. As soon as I did, I started to be able to write off 100% of the payments we were making on all of our real estate. That meant, you know, the numbers that you have to like pay your mortgages on post-tax dollars, I flipped to spending money on pre-tax dollars. I don't know about you, but if you have to pay between 25 and 40% taxes, and you're paying your mortgages after you have to pay the taxes, and you start to pay your money before you pay the taxes, and you get to write off 100% of what you pay, does that mean that you have more available capital to go back and invest again? The answer is yes. So I share with you guys, I got on this call exactly 2 hours ago. And I know for a fact this was a long tail, and I really appreciate y'all. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you the full picture. Did we not come all the way around? And I'm sharing with you, right? This is not like subjective to the scenario of which that it just kind of happens. Like, no, I gave you historical context. I'm sharing with you the only way for you to be rich in America is to have non-grantor, irrevocable trusts, to be in real estate. So every dollar you spend, you're spending the dollar on your real estate, and it reduces your AGI. What is AGI? As we close out, what is AGI? AGI, what does that term mean?
Annual gross income?
No, keep going.
Oh, wait, hold on. Adjusted gross income. Adjusted?
AGI.
Adjusted gross
What does
income.
adjusted gross income mean? That
You get
means
to-
that you spent money before it was taxable. So what if you had a Brittany, you got a 4-unit building. It costs you $5,000 a month, but you're making $6,000 a month gross income. And at that $5,000, you're able to write off 100% of that. So by my math, 5,000 times 12 is $60,000. You had $150,000 worth of income. And typically they will be taxing you on $150,000. But no, you get to write off $60,000. Now they're only taxing you on $90,000. That changes your tax bracket, right? Your head of household, they're going to give you $12,000 extra dollars. That brings you below $80,000. Now you're at $78,000. You're now on a 12% tax bracket if you're married. If you're not, you're at 20%, but guess what? That's better than the 24 or the 30-something% that you would have been in. You reduced it by almost half, and you got real estate now that real estate itself is being paid for by the U.S. taxpayers. You know why? You now are just like all these multinational corporations, because that's exactly what they do. Join the club. It should be so empowering. The lesson that I share with you guys today is that entities matter. Real estate matters. Understanding historical context matters. And know this, if you're in the real estate business, you will, over the next 5 years, cross into the category of being wealthy. Only when you have non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust. That, right, Miro, is facts. And with that, they were done.
Woo!
So let's give it up for Jay.
Fire, fire, fire.
How do we
Give
get
it
one?
up for Freedom Week. Woo, woo. You're
Yo.
getting this out there. It's time to go to war.
So,
Wealth acceleration retreat, though.
so powerful. So thank you, Jay. What a generous, beyond generous gift. Jay signed up for sharing 20 minutes of his time with us and went 2 hours. That's a 10x. Okay.
Thank
Over-delivered.
you.
So big thank you, brother. Now I don't know about you all, but I got to integrate this, and I'd love to know action steps. Actually, I asked a question earlier, if you don't mind, Jay, if I can bother you for a couple more questions. There's like perceived barriers to entry when it comes to getting started with non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust. Like perceived barriers, meaning like, oh, I have to be at a certain position, I have to have a certain amount of money, or whichever. And then there's real barriers to entry. I would love for you to break down, what does it actually take to get started with this kind of thing? And what are real issues versus not real issues? Can you help us with this? So like basically, in other words, is mere mortals able to get involved with this?
Okay. So here's how it works. When I showed up in a room and a family paid us $50,000 and some families paid us $165,000, that's when I would fly across the country. We stay there for a day. That's the number I paid. See, when you already have businesses and you're selling businesses, you have multiple real estate, 165, when I tell you that you're writing it off at 100% this same year, for them, they're like, oh, I got to remember what I said. Part of the dilemma is when you have higher income, you have to have write-offs to make sure that you don't have to pay taxes. So for those who are at least $300,000 a year in income, they saw 165 as a godsend. They got it for free because they were going to have to pay. Britt, did we just talk about the AGI and lowering it? The same way if we were paying a mortgage is when you buy, when you used to, right, again, $50,000 to $165,000. The problem is the people that were in the room did not look like us. There were always non-us people. And I mentioned this before in earlier calls. So what I decided to do was create it as a course, lower the price to $10,000 for the course, and then the Underrepresented People's Foundation, which is our foundation, grants you the same thing that they were paying $165,000 for, you get it for $10,000. Why would I do it? Right. We got a bag. I share with you. I tell stories, never lies. We got a lot. I done already sold 2 companies, one for 7 figures and one for 8 figures years ago. This is my evangelist side of my life, right? I used to be a literal capitalist, like at a crazy level. Now I'm like, I did enough damage working for those guys. And now we're doing things that we know isn't a negative, but you have to have skin in the game. You have to study the course. I need you to be savants on this, where you are now plugging into various groups and you're evangelizing it. This is not a network marketing thing. I set it up because I decided this is what I was going to do. No one can, I don't need the money, but if I don't give you something that forces you to actually like pour into the knowledge, when you have it, guess what you're going to do? You're going to underutilize it. You're going to use it for things that are going to make you rich, not wealthy. When you can actually take retreats and you can go all over the world, and 100% of what you do on those retreats is 100% tax deductible. It changes the dynamic of what you do in life. There is a barrier to your brain when you know you're spending money on credit cards that you know that's post-tax dollars. When you know you can't write off those credit card payments, you're going to do less. When you know you can write off those credit card payments, you're going to do more. This is the way they set it up. So the point is simple. But if I told you that you can take a course that may take you anywhere from I would say 35 days at max, it could be done in 90 days, right? I literally wrote the course myself. It is crazy rabbit hole stuff. You go down the process of knowing what the global estate trust is, how the Vatican started this whole thing way back in the 1300s, what happens with the Medici family and the Rothschilds, and that is so enlightening. And I do that because I need to make sure you have historical context to understand the value of what you are about to possess, right? For us, as people who had people in our families at one time, they were in bondage. Whether you were European and you were part of that Irish thing, the potato famine, and you had to come here and live in the slums in New York and Jersey, right? Or you were somebody who was on a slave ship, your ancestors came in, and it could be other Black people that enslaved you and sold you to the Europeans. It's so crazy, right? But this is the realism. No matter how you got here, typically you didn't get here on your own volition. Like your family did not really choose to be here. They had to come here. That's what makes up America. But the irony is that your ancestors had to go through all of that crap and they still didn't give you the keys to the kingdom. This is the key. So if you can figure out how to scrape together $10,000, and Nero was like, man, we got to break it into some payments. Can you do it like this and do it? I'm like, bruh. And I don't want to be an elitist, right? Because I know $10,000, $10,000. But it's like a thimbleful. It's nothing because you're going to write it off at 100% this year. But the key is that in 45 days, if I told you, you pass the course, you have to get 100% on the course. I mean, it's a course. You got to actually study. And we set it up that the marker of you actually getting your certificate is 100% on every single module. We're not playing. If you guys don't know anything about me, like I smile, when I'm telling the story, but I'm so effing serious about you being able to educate your legacy around the things that you were disenfranchised on. They didn't teach you this. So now you get this Wyoming Series LLC. And some of you guys are going to try to go and create your own Series LLC. All right, go for it. It's not what you create, it's how you use it. And then you need to have a business trust, a family trust, and a family charitable trust. There's a reason why. And then you need to have a private foundation. And there's a reason why. And then you need to sit in on these master classes that you're actually, now that you're a graduate and you have your certificate. One of our entities is called Nourish the Brain. And it's an accredited entity that actually gives you a certification. It's just like Phoenix University. University of Phoenix, but guess what? When we give you accreditation, it's actually accredited. Like you can actually take that certification, but you are able to go to a bank. And when you're speaking about how you are navigating by moving money into a trust, or you're using your LLC and you want to make your LLC then take the profits and putting in your trust. And eventually, with money you don't spend, you want that money to be where? In your private foundation. Why? Because the private foundation has no income tax, no property tax, no capital gains tax. You actually get a real letter from the IRS. It says, congratulations. It's a letter of determination, right? And when you have one of those, you legally are like Donald Trump. Everybody's up in arms because that dude do not pay taxes. They hate that guy. Now, I'm not a fan of his tan. I'm not a fan of him grabbing, and being all that guy. He's just the rudest, craziest guy. But even that guy with no character, low integrity, being that guy, even he has that determination letter. And this is the reason why he's able to move the way he moves, because he's got these letters from the IRS that says that he never has to pay taxes. And they have never told you that on CNBC, MSN, Fox. They don't talk about that. You know why? Because it's like, I say this all the time, Miro, in closing, they should be running Super Bowl commercials on this thing. You don't have to pay for it as long as you have to learn it. And we charge for the learning. Now you have skin in the game. Please, you guys, I'm going to dip Miro. Anybody who wants to actually take the course, phase 1 of the course is up right now, right? You in the first phase is probably going to take you 2 weeks to take. It's going to enlighten you so much that you'll be like, gladly, you'll be up on social, be like, oh my God, I'm taking this course. It's amazing. Because I know the value of what you need to know. We're from the same tribe. Fortunately for me, I got a bunch of individuals that came before me. They are, Beverly Hills, Bel Air. They're doing really, really well, guys, that pulled me to the side. Some Persian brothers that came over when the Shah of Iran they came over, they put me on game. And I'm a good student of the game. This is how I know what I know. I created an industry around this thing. We have about 250 families that have paid, they paid real dollars. I decided at the beginning of the year that we're going to just go to this course base. Why? Because we can reach more people that I know that could be impactful on. If you already got the bag, this is just helping you amplify the bag. Most of you don't really have the bag. You have a bag, it's just not filled yet. Yes? So let's fill your bag. Let's fill your bag. Guys, I got to bounce.
And thank you again, Jay. And you master at it, keeping people in comfort mode.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Dave.
So blessed by it. Thank you, Jay.
Yes, we love you.
Awesome. He's gone. Wow, that was fire. Yo, I want to take a moment to debrief because that was a lot of information. Just go ahead and type in the chat. What was your single biggest takeaway from all of this? We'll take 1 or 2 shares, just like what have you received, whether it's one nugget or many. Just go ahead and share a couple aha moments, insights, one big takeaway. Type it in the chat and we're going to do 1 or 2 shares. Just do the raise your hand, physical hand or digital hand. Brittany is ready to rock. So go ahead, Brittany.
The multiple levels of trust, the non-grantor, complicated or complex trust is something that is completely new to me, but he did also, towards the end there kind of went quick through it to have, what was it like? It was like a trust stack, literally, like, and then I guess that was part of the schematic that he showed that was like all over the place where you have like one management company that manages your companies, which I guess is the one that he's building in Wyoming. But it's nice that he directly handholds you through the structure and the process of it. So that's kind of what I picked up. And I'm at the like low level of this, like, I can't even act on any of this, but I'm taking this information in. And I know like some of it through someone else you've introduced me to, Miro, Laura Langmeyer stuff. And she just does like her level is just like the top of the iceberg. And he just went, bam, here's the rest of the iceberg. And I'm just like, wow. So like, I'm just sitting in that space.
That's such an amazing metaphor and so 100% spot on. And the iceberg metaphor resonates. And the step-by-step, so I'm in the course. I have the privilege of going through this process with Jay, and he's got a checklist, like literally every single step for every single one of the entities, the Wyoming LLC and the each of the trusts. It's like it's checklist and a video guide, and you literally can't fuck it up. It's like painting by numbers. But yes, absolutely. And also anyone else, like when Brittany just kind of recaps her lessons, it's just like sinks in deeper for me. So I'm loving these shares. Let's give snaps for Brittany. That was wonderful. Okay, I know Empress had your hand up. We'll do 1 or 2 more shares.
Yes. Real quick, Blue Bug versus Draconian, control versus own. And what landed for me, he kept saying like what Brittany shared, trust. And I kept relating to trust like relationship and like inner circle. So it's like, here's the public, but then here's the private, but then here's the private, and here's the private, and it has deeper levels of trust and what's associated with that. Yes. So very like lineage oriented. Thank you.
Fire. Thank you. Let's give it up for Empress. That's for Empress, everybody. Who else who has a burner, who has like a burning share that they want to get off their chest? Not all at once.
Well, just that I gotta get one. A non-grantor, irrevocable complex trust. And
Yes.
more importantly, that letter from the IRS saying you've been approved.
Non-grantor, irrevocable, complex trust. Say that times fast. Yeah, who else feels that way? Who else is like, I gotta get one of these? 100%. That's everybody, of course.
I think it's a program because it's like, how do you use it? How to utilize it properly and how to have it within the structure, because like doing this stuff on your own, I can tell it's not as simple as it sounds, as he made it sound. So I really honestly wouldn't do it without the structure that he has in place, because from what I've observed, just being in different communities and picking it all up, is having that structure backbone behind it is what keeps like a safety net within not owning things outright. So it's like, because I've had that, burning question of like, okay, well, if I don't own anything, how do I create stability in this and that sort of thing? And he kind of answered it within what I know of the system, and then what he's elaborated on deeper within the system of like the elite status. So.
And what's also add value to add what Brittany shared, because I do tax and financial planning, is when I recruit people's information from the traditional 1040 Schedule E and put money back in their pockets, is to now educate them through Jay's course, where they have that money available, so then they can continue to actually tap into that wealth engine and having those things. So just me integrating. So it's kind of like, here's phase one. And removing the beliefs, the limiting beliefs, and walking into that. Now they can breathe and trust and go to the next level, like you said, with Jay's course, and then continue, to level up to be in alignment. Yes, so that was very empowering.
Beautiful, love that. Monique.
I think the part that is most compelling and profound to me is this: when we really, really think about the frequency of abundance and what we call money, it's like, what is real estate? Because like he said, like burning dirt, right? If the house burns down, what real estate really is I own this part of the land, and depending on the laws where you are, the sky, right? Because you have, what is it, REITs in like New York, for example, like people can own a certain amount of like the space. No one technically owns that. God owns that. But when we are stewards of land or stewards of wealth, it's how we're holding it, like the energy and the care and the distribution that decides if we're, he talked about Donald Trump, love or hate, whoever you love or hate. I think they're all robots. They're not actually the puppet string pullers themselves anyway. So, but honoring this knowledge that, some of us are heaven's mafia and we're doing spiritual money laundering. And so essentially this awareness that the way the laws are written are under, that the Constitution is under God, that we pledge allegiance to the flag under God. And it's recognizing that so many of even the things we're doing here and building our businesses are either full of a presence that's beyond us or empty of that presence. And so that's the aspect that sort of like, it brings back home for me this idea that governments and banks are all trying to teach us that we're owned or we own, as opposed to we are vessels for it to flow through.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that you bring the spiritual perspective in the abundance mindset of sort of who we really are, and recognizing sort of the truth and then the matrix. And there's a connection actually, because, all these structures are man-made and made up, right? And there's an energetic integrity in the way that we move the energy, that it actually fuels and it's regenerative, rather than the poverty codes, which is like we make some money and we spend it, right? And then it's gone. And then we gotta go to work again. And there's another way where we use these structures and use the matrix and use this energetic integrity to have an income, put it into a vehicle that regenerates itself. And it creates money babies, and it grows, and it lasts. And it's like literally untouchable by sort of the agents, right, that made the matrix up. And that's just such a powerful thing to have awareness around, especially with the historical context of how people have been disenfranchised. What Jay didn't share here, but he shares with me privately and with others, is that his mission in life is to rebalance the scales of economic justice. To rebalance the scales of economic justice. He's seen a lot of wrongs, and we all have. Misinformation. He's talking about people jumping off of buildings, out of windows in 2008 because of misinformation. And that's deliberate, right? It's deliberate misinformation. And we've all seen the income disparity. And then when it comes to race and our, ethnic backgrounds, and then some of it is his own experience. Like, he's been with the Monsantos of the world. He's been in the White House with those companies, the elites, that the pharmaceutical companies, and he's seen behind the scenes how they use their wealth. And he's like, yo, I got 10 more years left of this career. Let me do some rights. Let's right some wrongs. So anyway, I'm really, obviously inspired. Like, I'm enrolled all over again. Like, I've always already enrolled, but like, I'm enrolled all over again. And inspired, and I'm loving that it's landing so much for all of you guys and myself. It's just like sinking in deeper. I can't get enough of this. So with that, friends, we're gonna wind this down. And for those of you who love, how can we enroll in this course? That's a wonderful question. If you, by the way, what is your name? Is it I don't know how to pronounce your name. Will you let us know? And who are you? I'd love to answer your question. Oh, it's Aaron. What's up, Aaron? Can we give Aaron a Manifest X welcome and say, what's up, Aaron, on 3? Find your unmute button. 1, 2, 3. What's up, Aaron?
What's up, Aaron?
What's up, Aaron?
Hey, with 5 Ys. I'm sure you're busy right now. Listen, Aaron, the way you enroll in this course is there's an application in the call that you book. And I can actually provide you with the scheduling link and set you up personally. But I would say shoot me a text and I'll make a personal introduction. In fact, what I'll do, because I partnered, there's a website that Brittany just shared. You can shoot me a text on my phone number, and what I'll do is I'll do a personal, like a warm introduction, where we do a call together. And that's what I do for all of you guys here live on this call. I don't do that for everybody because I have limited amount of time in my day. But this way, you have a warm introduction to Jay, and it's kind of a smooth experience to know that we're, family, we're in this together, and we actually get to do this program together, which helps me a lot because I benefit from the accountability of being in this process together. So yeah, I'd say, so long story short, shoot me a text. Also, you can go to the website to book a call if you want to do the private experience, but if you want to do it with me, let's do a 3-way call and we'll rock and roll together. And if you have any resistance, or like, hey, your heart says yes and I want to do this, but I'm having some, like, my mind says yeah, but stories, by all means, reach out to me. Let me support you, because my stand is that everybody here who wants to do this gets to do this. This is generation. This is for your legacy, for your children's, and for your mission in life. So, all right, with all of this, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I do want to welcome you also to, if you want to come back and get more of this, whether you want to do this program with Jay or just be an official member, right? Do you love this community? You want to be with this group of people and continue building with us? I invite you to book a call with me personally as well, and Empress, or any of the members who are official members, and ask them about their experience. But yeah, join us. We're building this community. Our commitment is to support 100 committed, intuitive entrepreneurs to build their income, impact, freedom, and abundance, so that they can, impact the maximum number of lives, and live the fuck yes life, and create generational worth, literally abundance from the inside out, like Monique shared, in community and with support. So anyway, I hope that resonates, and acknowledge all of you and each of you for being here 2 hours or more, literally, on a Monday. And we're just getting started, you guys. So next week is going to be even bigger and better. We have some incredible speakers. Jay promised to come back again to give us another load. I don't believe it's going to be another 2 hours, but it will be potent. So come back for more. It works if you work it. And again, thank you. And if you have questions, please, if you're not in our group chat yet, if you're not part of this community yet, shoot me a text, join our group chat, connect with these amazing members. And honestly, I think it's important that we integrate this with an action step. Please, before you leave, if you want to be held accountable, what is one action step that you will take with everything that you learned to integrate one tiny action that you'll complete between now and next Monday, so we can celebrate your progress next Monday. In other words, what do you want to celebrate with us next Monday when we meet again? Can speak freely, type in the chat. What I'll be celebrating is 1 or 2 new Manifest X Mastermind members. I mean, some of you guys or some of our other friends will be joining us as official members. That's what I'll be celebrating. And I'll keep it at that. How about you guys? What do you guys want to celebrate?
I just want to celebrate just the wealth. I'm celebrating the completion of the Wealth Acceleration Summit, converting now into our Wealth Acceleration Summit series. I'm celebrating Miss Lorna, who's an amazing epic speaker, who is fully present, who spoke at our day 2 because she's a real estate investor and broker. And I just am very grateful that she's on the platform with us here today in Manifest X. And I am celebrating that we also have members who will fully pay their tuition in our Manifest X community to get access to these wealth engines and take it to the next level. And I'm celebrating my appointments for MITT program for those souls that I want to transform this weekend. Thank you so much. That's what I'm celebrating.
Love it. Let's go, Empress. I see a question there, Brittany. Says Lorna wants to join a group chat for the mastermind. We'll set you up with that. Who can support Lorna with that?
I can. If you want to join our chat group on Facebook, let me know. Hit me up on that. So put your link in the chat so I can follow you on Facebook and get you in, or you can find me on Facebook and I can put my link in the chat. Whatever works better for you.
Amazing.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'm in the middle of working on a challenge and creating some stuff. So I'm listening. Good stuff. I mean, like, this stuff goes so deep. I appreciate that Jay, was his name, is bringing it to the forefront, because this information is so hidden in plain sight that, you know, it doesn't even sound real, right? So great to be here. Glad to be in the conversation. And I'll connect with you, Brett.
So good. Yeah, my invitation for you guys is journal. I gotta go journal this stuff, integrate. Like, we got so many codes and downloads. Don't waste this, you know. Give your dreams legs right now. Have accountability buddies, write this stuff down, do what you need to do. All right, y'all. Love all of you. I will see you next Monday. For those of you who choose to stay, and the rest of you, have a wonderful life. We'll talk soon.